and here we are.
Cheers to the Limp Bizkit copyright strike.
Right?
Oh, I knew that was going to happen. I knew that was going to happen, but it was worth it. It was worth it.
It's cool.
So
You use the instrumental version, which is cool.
Yeah.
I prefer that. No, you want to hate me. He's so whiny. Right off the bat, there's actually, I want to give a shout out to somebody who did a very awesome thing, MVP. Box Office Brawler just gave the first super chat for me.
Oh, nice.
And wished
Very
us
nice.
well. So, God bless you, man.
Thank you, Box Office Brawler.
Yeah. We'll get to the comments in between each movie that we talk about. I like that structure, so we'll see how that goes.
Cool.
So right off the bat, what is your history with the first film?
Well, I remember going to see it with my friends for my 16th birthday, the very first one. I remember thinking, what the fuck is this movie? This is weird, but it kept sticking into my brain, so I had to go see it again, and then I loved it.
Yeah, this is back when you would see movies multiple times in theaters, you know? Remember that?
Yeah.
I saw this movie probably 3 or 4 times when it came out. I really liked it. I liked it a lot. It's one of those movies where if you rewatch it, it's not that complicated, but for whatever reason at the time,
It felt complicated.
it felt kind of hard to follow. And I think that sentiment was, that's how everyone kind of felt.
Yeah.
And
I guess people didn't think it was going to be as smart as it ended up being for what it was.
Yeah, exactly. So, and to this day, I think it's the smartest one out of all of them.
Yeah, no contest.
Yeah, and like as you've brought up many times before when we talk about these movies, it's the only one where Tom Cruise never fires a gun.
Not once.
So
Espionage at the forefront.
Yeah, but I really enjoyed it. I liked it a lot. I think it's a cool movie. What about you, Kyle?
It's interesting that this shouldn't have worked. This is a major movie star trying to produce a TV show from the 60s or 70s.
60s, and then I think it was rebooted in the 80s.
Yeah, and I think this was the first movie he produced with Paula Wagner.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
It shouldn't have worked out.
No, considering how they changed things.
Oh, it was a shit show. They went full circle when it comes to how they make these movies, because it was a scramble, not as much as the very last one, but we'll get to that. But with this one, with MI1, it's more of a thriller than it is an action movie. The action movie bits come in the third act.
Yeah.
With the train sequence.
Yeah.
And before that, the vault sequence in Langley, would you consider that an action sequence?
No,
it's a very tense,
thriller
esque sequence.
It's a set piece, but not an action set piece.
Yeah,
it's a suspense piece.
It's a very quiet scene too.
Well, I remember back in the day, there was a scene where he meets up with Kittredge at that Aqua Cafe or whatever.
Oh, the aquarium.
Yeah. And like, and the windows go out, and he's like, jumping and running from that. I remember, like, they made a huge deal out of that stunt, and like I remember even as a kid, like thinking that's not that fucking big of a deal. It's more like if they fuck it up, that would suck.
Yeah.
Like if they mess the take up, but in terms of Tom Cruise's safety, no. I mean, it's cool to see, but like that's like the only kind of action bit that you get, somewhat.
Right. Yeah, the rest of it's pretty tame in terms of action.
Well, but like it's not like I wasn't going into that movie expecting an action movie necessarily. Like the template for Mission Impossibles wasn't set yet.
Yeah, exactly.
So you really didn't know what to expect.
Yeah, and I don't know about you, but like I didn't really grow up with the show. Like I had seen bits and pieces of it, and I had the video game for NES.
Yeah, that was dope game.
Which was a great game.
Yeah.
But I really had no expectations. So like when all the older people who watched it and they saw what they did to like Jim Phelps, they like lost their shit. And I was like, I don't know, it was pretty cool.
Yeah, I remember I spent the night at a friend's house, and I remember his mom like being pissed. We were talking about the movie, and his mom was pissed off about that.
Yeah.
His mom?
My friend's mom.
She's a big fan of the TV show.
Yeah,
Did you guys ever watch the TV show? I have not seen a single frame.
Yeah,
except for maybe the intro from clips.
I've
Yeah.
seen some clips, but I've never watched an actual full episode.
Yeah,
Mhm.
I mean, they didn't really carry over any of the characters from the show into the movies.
Ethan Hunt's not in the show.
He's not even in the show. Not even. It's literally just Jim Phelps.
Yeah. So, whatever.
Hey, I mean, the ballsy move, what they did with that character.
So is Phelps the main character in the show?
Yeah.
Well, he comes in season 2. He's actually not in the first season of the show. He comes in season 2 as the team leader, and then he's got the whole team with him. So he's like, yeah, he's kind of the main character, but there's like, it's a team, so it's an ensemble.
But he's a good guy, though.
Yeah,
That's
he's
what
a
people
good
have the
guy. And
issue
then
with.
like they in the movie they get that brief little explanation where he gets older and he's like, Cold War's over, you know. I had to do something else. Like, so he betrays his country. It's kind of absurd, but it was like it was a twist. Like if you're a fan of the show, you probably did not see coming and probably were not too happy with. But for us, we were like, that's super cool because we knew of the character, we knew he was the hero of the show, but we didn't really have any like connection to him.
Yeah, well, and yeah, so I didn't have any of that going in, so that didn't really have an impact on me whatsoever. I do think that one of the best scenes of the movie is between Tom Cruise and Jon Voight when they meet, and like after he reveals himself that he's still alive, and they're at that like I don't know the coffee shop
He's
or whatever,
piecing everything together,
and you can tell that like he's putting it together and saying what Jim Phelps like kind of wants to hear, but at the same time you're getting that he's realizing actually what happened.
Yeah.
And
which can be confusing because as a kid watching the film, I wasn't sure what the hell was going on in terms of like was what we were seeing, was that also what Phelps was picturing as well? Because you're cutting back and forth to their reactions. It's a tough conceit,
but it's such a well crafted.
But I think
scene,
as
though.
an adult, you understand it better. But as a youngin, not so much.
Well, I remember, when I was young, I probably didn't really pick up on that the first time I watched it, but subsequent viewings, I'd watch that scene and I would think that's really cool how they did that.
Phelps is feeding him all this bullshit, and he's like, "Yeah, that makes sense," and he's like repeating the bullshit, but you see what he's actually thinking.
Yeah, and it's like if you go back and you watch other Brian De Palma movies like Blowout, there's lots of stuff in those movies that you can see in this Mission Impossible. And I think that part of the reason why that movie Mission Impossible 1 works so well is because of the polish that De Palma put on it. It's just like that's why it feels like, I don't know.
The style.
Yeah, it's got like a classier feel than the other ones.
And
that's because of him.
Yeah. Just like you said, the aquarium scene, like I love that scene, not only because it's a cool set piece and how it ends, but just the way it's shot. Like when he's talking to Kittredge and you got those like crazy low Dutch angles. Like I'd never seen that before, like used that way.
And it's like as the tension in that scene is wrapping, the angles start getting lower.
Yeah, lower and lower.
Yeah.
Until you're almost looking up their nose.
yeah, pretty much.
But it's great. Yeah, like, and that's the touch that De Palma brought to it.
And the Danny Elfman score is really good in that movie.
Great score.
Did you guys know that originally Alan Silvestri wrote the score to that movie?
Yeah.
You can find.
I have it.
It's not too dissimilar. It's
no, it's pretty different. It's pretty different.
You can listen to it on YouTube. Like there's clips of it.
It's got like this like weird electric guitar.
Yeah. Like if you watch the train scene when it starts, like that scene always had this like but then when the Silvestri music is way different.
It is, yeah.
When you say electric guitar, is it 90s reverb guitar in there? I like that, but it doesn't work for a Mission Impossible movie.
I mean, ultimately, that's kind of I think why they ended up throwing it out. I think it's a good score by itself, and it could have worked in another film, perhaps. But if I had to pick between the two, the Danny Elfman stuff's better. But the only music that survived of his is in the trailer, like all the Mission Impossible stuff. He orchestrated and did that for the trailer, and that stayed. But the rest of it's just they threw it out and they hired Danny Elfman. So
yeah, one of the first
Alan Silvestri.
One of the first soundtracks I ever bought as well for a movie.
Yep, same here. We were just talking about that before we started rolling.
Compact disc.
Yes,
correct. I did not have it on.
For the youngins out there, that means he went to a store and bought it.
Tower
he didn't
Records.
Go to iTunes. Didn't exist yet. Yeah. dating ourselves.
Yeah.
That's fine.
So the Danny Elfman score, it worked out coming from someone who was in a band. Like this guy was in an 80s band, and if you look up pictures of him,
Oingo
Boingo,
boingo.
he looks
boingo.
like a dweeb, and the
Still looks like a
name
dweeb.
of it.
Yeah, that didn't
Well,
change.
now with that long hair, he's looking more
And
like
the-
a chick, not
And
a,
the
not
tats
a
and shit that
dweeb.
he's got.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, we won't go into that with his wife. Well, poor Bridget Fonda, what she did to herself.
It's a different video.
Yeah.
Yeah. So with so what is your favorite scene from the first film? This one?
Probably the vault scene.
I mean, the
Yeah,
vault
that's-
scene is
It's cliche, but it's a great
iconic.
scene. Yeah.
I mean, it spawned so many parodies, and that scene's great. But I love the aquarium scene.
Mm.
Just a cool setting, and then like just so much what's going on the train and everything. I mean, that whole sequence is great. but-
Well, yeah, I loved. It's so cool, but like because there is no action like we're talking about, but until at the end when he's like red light, green light, shoves it on
he
the
had on the
helicopter,
thing.
and then he's like,
And he's just like,
he jumps,
"Ah!"
and then it blows up, which pushes him far.
Right, what was his plan?
I don't know, but it's fucking cool. Like,
Yeah.
I loved that growing
Yeah.
up. I thought that was an awesome scene.
That should not work. That scene
No.
should
No.
fucking not work.
No.
And for some reason, they are still able to pull it off. And those effects, when
They
that
still
the
hold up.
helicopter explodes and pushes him onto the front of the face of the train, it's epic.
It looks great.
The camera right on the front, and then he just lands in front of it. It's fantastic. I remember when I was a kid, I would reenact that.
Yeah,
Just
same.
like I would jump off the stairs
We had a trampoline,
and do that.
and
I
I
would
would
do,
do that.
"Ah!"
Yeah. I had a trampoline in my backyard, and I'd play the score, and then I would like do that on that part.
Yeah. Did you play the take a look around from MI2 and do that and jump? I would jump off the stairs when he leaves the building, the medical building where the virus is being held. He makes that hole in the wall and he jumps in slow motion. I would jump like that onto a sleeping bag and pillows.
Oh yeah, man, definitely.
But yeah, but here's the thing. This is what we're gonna do. We're going to let me see if I can push buttons. We have inspired by Jackson at Box Office Brawler. He inspired this actually. We got a chart here. Let me see. Go full screen.
This your ranking chart?
Yeah. So let's see if we can rank this. Where does MI1 fit in terms of mission accomplished? Stands at 10. You got 9, 7, so on and so forth. All the way down to past 4 is mission abort, and then mission disavowed.
So this is not like a traditional ranking. This is
a tier list. I would put this up at mission accomplished. I would put this up at the very top.
This is
top tier and Mission Impossible.
The series
film.
peaked at 1.
I mean,
for what this is.
I would say that's a hot take a bit.
Yeah,
but I would.
Okay.
It's definitely at the top though. It sets the tone of the series and it does it well, and it's the classiest one out of all of them.
Yeah,
and it stands on its own in a way the others don't. The
Correct.
writing
Yes.
is its own thing. The directing, even though Christopher McQuarrie in 7 tried to repeat some of the visuals that the first one has with the Dutch angles, bringing back the old characters and stuff. But the first one is on its own animal, and it's still
I agree.
holds
It
up.
is.
and I think that the 7 is shot really well. I like the aesthetic of it, but I still think the first one is a better looking movie.
Mm-hmm. And I agree. We're all in agreement with that. I think it stands at like top tier in what it's trying to do. How could it have been better? I don't think it could have. I don't think it could have been any better than what it is.
For what it was at the time. I mean, considering where, like, you know, without the foresight of, or, you know, seeing where the series would go, you know, it's set apart. Like, I don't think they had I mean, the second one came what, like years after.
Yeah, the second one came out, I think, in 2000, and the first one was 96.
Yeah, so
2000 or 2001.
Yeah, there was a
Second
lot
one.
of time between.
There was.
that,
I
so-
remember I was at a movie theater and I saw the poster to 2, and I was like, oh,
Oh,
they're actually making a second one?
interesting.
Wow, okay.
Yeah.
Weird.
Mm.
Then I saw John Woo directed it.
And
I was like,
you
fuck.
started gushing.
Yes. But I don't know. I think that if I had like a complaint about the first one, it's like when I saw it when I was young, I did wish there was maybe a little bit more action in it. But then,
I thought you were going to say
I
TNA,
agree with
man.
that.
I thought you were going to say TNA.
Yeah, right.
You know, they cut for the audience. You guys know this. They cut a sex scene, or at least the beginning of a sex scene from the movie between Phelps's wife and him, and it's in the trailer. If you look at the first trailer, he's grabbing her and kissing her neck and moving her around. They wanted to tease that to audience because they knew, let's have some TNA, but no, they cut that. They cut
that chick was
they
attractive
faced
too.
a blind.
Yeah.
Really?
Phelps was.
Emmanuel Barrett. She was hot.
Oh yeah.
She
in
has
Mission
these
Impossible.
kind of
Yeah.
bug eyes. She kind of weirds me out.
Dude,
All right.
sorry about the bug eyes.
Sorry about the bug eyes.
Oh, we'll get to that. We'll get to the Hunt Girl section.
Maybe we should rate the chicks too. Like,
Yeah.
That's well.
I don't know. I put her up there pretty high.
I would
Well,
too.
we're gonna see. And the way the tier works is it's democratic. So whichever votes, the 2 votes outweigh the other, is the majority wins.
Okay, gotcha.
So you're going to be the deciding factor when it comes to MI2, Kyle.
Why the? Oh, because I already know. Hey, I didn't force his hand at how he feels
Well, hold
about
on.
MI2.
We'll get to. We're getting to that right now. Actually.
Oh, any final thoughts about the first film? And then we're gonna get to the chat. We're gonna hear what the chat says.
Well, Megan the Texan had a few comments about.
John Reno was amazing in the movie.
He was
Absolutely.
fantastic.
This was the movie I was introduced to him for, and it,
Yeah.
like he plays the kind of villain that's intimidating. Like when he has the knife in both, because he uses it a couple times, and each time he's a very underrated villain.
Yeah.
I think he's an excellent villain, and then this is not a popular opinion, but in Godzilla, him playing a good guy, he's the bright spot of that movie. But
Yeah.
he
I
plays a
would.
good
Yeah,
guy.
that movie sucks, but he's good in that.
Yeah.
Right, exactly. Yeah, doesn't.
I mean, I
impress
think
Elvis.
it's fair to say that Jean Reno just makes whatever he's in
He
better.
makes it better,
Yeah,
yeah.
just by being himself.
Da Vinci
He's a great actor.
Code, Yeah.
Yeah, and Emilio Estevez's death was kind of a fun little shocking surprise when this movie started. It
lot
was
of
kind
people-
of
As a kid, I
Yeah.
watched Emilio Estevez. I know him from the Mighty Ducks as a kid, and I love him as Coach Bombay. And then all of a sudden, I see his face.
His face cave in.
yeah, right. He just sat
These
there and
spikes. I wonder, are those damn things even exist? They looked like medieval spikes that just, and it's
Yeah.
just.
yeah.
His-
I don't know. I
his
think he
face
had a
goes
little
right
room
through
to
them.
move, maybe try to dodge a little bit, but
Going back to Jean Reno for 1 second,
Yeah.
I was a little disappointed that in Final Reckoning, when he gets the knife back, there was no
To
acknowledgement
him.
to him.
Yeah.
He gets the knife and he looks at it and that's about it. Like I
Yeah.
wish he'd have said something about
they were
it.
flashback happy in that movie anyway. They could have just thrown a little quick
Exactly.
flash of him in the
That's-
helicopter smiling with trying to put the blade into his throat.
Yeah. Whatever.
Yeah.
All right, let's move on because we got a few more
Yeah,
films to get to.
Oh
All
yeah.
right, let's
Not much to
see.
say about part 2.
There's plenty of stuff.
Yeah, there is. All right. Horror with Nads, yay. I'll have to catch the replay, but have a great stream. Thank you, Nadia. Appreciate it. Jackson wishes that he could have known about this sooner. Well, it's the first time, so I wasn't sure if it was actually going to happen because we had some technical difficulties that, mostly on my end. So yeah.
For once,
Yeah.
That's a first, yeah.
Not ours.
I'll see you guys on the replay. So comment because
All right.
we'll still read the comments as well.
Am
I don't know
too?
how to pronounce this. but he extruded all over this video.
Mm.
Nice. Kanice? Nice 215.
Oh, right.
Yeah. Well, thanks, man. Don't forget to clean up. Let's see what else. We got friend of the show and contributor Benjamin Slack. Ben, you still in the chat? We got Corey. Hey, Corey. Megan. And she agrees Jean Reno was amazing in the movie.
Yeah.
She also says there are 2 movies where Tom Cruise is sitting at a table piecing everything together. MI1 and Jerry Maguire.
All right.
He is? Jerry Maguire? At a table?
It's been a while.
And Megan did not see Jack's elevator death coming. Yeah, it's yeah, poor Jack.
Yeah.
Okay, so MI2. Let's move to MI2. Yeah. Let's go to some Limp Bizkit, baby. Yeah.
Going 180.
Limp Bizkit
This
and
movie's the
Hans Zimmer.
reason why there is a no monetization on this video. I'll fight it, but we'll see.
Yeah.
All right, so MI2 comes out in 2000. It was thoroughly anticipated. I remember watching like Entertainment Tonight and some, magazine that's talking about, well, they're off in Australia shooting, and why are they in Australia?
Tom Cruise is doing some free soloing.
Yeah, the cliff sequence, that was huge.
Yeah.
That was the stunt they were promoting back then.
Yeah, and they would use that as an advert to promote the movie, which started the trend that they eventually, all the way to the end of this series of franchise, which,
have elevated.
It's, they've, and this is a smart thing to do. The practical elements that they commit is an aspect that is an attraction to want to see the movie, and they've kept going with that.
Mm-hmm.
So MI2, what is the thing that stands out the most for you?
Well,
and also we want to get into the contention between you two about this movie that really hasn't been, it hasn't had a place to air it out.
This is probably the only movie that him and I strongly disagree about.
Like as far apart as we could get on film.
This is it. I think this really is it.
Yeah. This is the peak.
In fact, the first time I ever mentioned this movie to him, he was just like, "Oh, fuck that movie!" Like so close-minded.
So close.
No, but all right. So when this movie came out, as alluded to earlier, I was massively into John Woo. Like, I used to watch Hard Boiled over and over. I loved Face Off. I love Broken Arrow. I didn't see Hard Target until like later on, but I love that movie. He was just on a roll at that point. He's coming from Hong Kong, and then his U.S. movies were great at that time. This is kind of what changed that. But
this was the beginning of the end.
This was the beginning, yeah. But I don't know, man. Like, no one shot action the way John Woo did, and this movie is no exception. This movie it's a beautiful looking movie, and no one does slow motion the way John Woo does slow motion. Yes.
You realize this is a precursor to Snyder.
Absolutely. Well, yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
You see, that's what I'm saying. In the DNA of John Woo, that's where you get your Zack Snyder from. That's where you get your Michael Bay from. That shit's from John Woo. Yes, fuck off with the dubs. I understand.
No, I like the dubs.
Listen, no one is arguing that the movie is not beautifully shot.
Okay, hold on.
And that John Woo is not an action master.
You understand?
Grandfather of the slow motion action scene.
Back then, that was enough for me. And also, dude, coming from one where there's like no action, this movie course corrected.
Yeah, it overcorrected
up the ass, And so I appreciated that. Now, it's not a perfect movie by any stretch of the means. The most annoying thing about this movie is they did the PG-13 bullet kills where he shoots the guns and then when it cuts back to the bad guys getting hit, it's like right after the squib would have
they've
gone off.
already
So they totally pussied out of any violence whatsoever.
Dude,
you know?
as soon as like you said, the doves, fucking doves. Okay, the scene for me where I remember sitting in the theater, and I've erased like 90% of this film from my brain. I've had to go back and rewatch the scene. Who was it? Was it Thandie Newton?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Tandy Newton.
Tandy Newton. Right.
Yeah.
Well, she
whatever
changed her
fucking-
name because she wanted to go back to her roots, but I mean,
Okay.
honey,
Well,
you've had that
whatever
name
about
for
her
like
real name.
20
Yeah, okay.
years in the industry. This is how we know you.
I
I'm gonna
remember
call her by
sitting
her
in the
dead name.
theater and I was there with a bunch of friends back when you used to go to the movies with a bunch of friends.
Yeah, weird.
I wait in line for 2 hours. Yeah. I remember when they're on I think the dock and her scarf blows off in slow motion
Hey,
and he
Ambrose
fucking
catches it.
catches it in slow motion
And the
and it's
music hits.
so dramatic. And I remember audibly saying like, fuck this movie. I was so over it in that moment. Like I checked out from that point.
That
just
scene's
like,
fucking awesome, dude.
no.
That scene's dope.
Like,
Well, you know why
is-
it's there, man, right? It's supposed to exemplify his tight grasp on her. It's symbolic.
yeah, it was symbolic, but it was so stupid. It was
Why is it stupid?
not the symbolism, just the emphasis they put into this scene, like the insane slow motion of him catching the scarf.
Didn't they zoom
It
in
was
on
so
him?
overdone.
Didn't they actually
Yeah, it was
zoom?
like
It wasn't
this
just
crazy zoom in
slow
on. Yeah,
motion. It was a zoom in.
the whole scene is just so
I-
overdone.
Dude, I think that might be an example of it rubbed you the wrong way with
Yeah, it did.
with
that
that
actually
zoom
it's in the first
because
movie.
the zoom is an addition that brings it a step too far
Well, I don't think they
from
zoom
the
in.
slow. I wish I had a clip to show.
No, I
that.
think that they definitely cut to the close up of it, but I don't think
They
that
punch
there's
in on it.
Well,
I don't
what-
remember if it's a zoom,
well, it's-
but
You know
I think-
what? Okay, fuck it. Keep talking, but I'm gonna see if I can find it.
I'm pretty sure that movie shot anamorphic, and there are anamorphic zooms, but I don't think that they used one for that movie. I could be wrong, but
I don't know, man. I just remember that scene just like, why is this so intense? Like, why is this like dialed up to 11
Dude,
right now?
okay,
He's catching a
because
scarf.
it's fucking Ambrose.
Yeah.
Ambrose is one of the
Fucking
most Ambrose is one of the most fun villains out of the entire
He
series.
was fun.
Okay.
He was fun.
And the whole movie's about like Tom Cruise being very uncomfortable with being an Eskimo brother.
Yeah.
Like, that's what the whole movie
Nice.
was.
And okay, I also really hated that he went from that like nice tight haircut in the first one to like that stupid long hair.
Yeah, Kyle and I have talked about this
I don't
before.
like the long hair.
He's got the long hair in all the Even movies.
Yeah, I don't like the long hair look.
Well, that's
Yeah,
one
I
of
think-
the reasons why I love MI1 is because it inspired my hair. So
Yeah, Kyle, you're rocking a haircut that looks very very MI1 right now.
I'm with you though. I don't
Yeah.
like the Tom Cruise legend haircut. He's
Yeah,
got the same
no, it
haircut from
doesn't-
Legend.
No,
I do like it. I wouldn't wear, although I did have hair past my shoulders at one point, like 15 years ago. But different Kyle. The hair is beautiful. I mean, I make mention of it in my video with Ben. Is how it looks like he conditioned that every day. It looks great, and it works with the slow mo, with the waviness. I wonder if that was a discussion they had about having that long hair so that it could play into the slow motion.
Sure.
Look, all right.
I mean,
I do acknowledge that this is one of the few movies that I have that is definitely guilty pleasure territory. I realize that it's shit, and if someone doesn't like it, I can't argue with them. You know, I can just tell you why I like it, but
yeah. Hey,
Um,
I can concede a few points. Like I can acknowledge that it's like a beautifully shot film and that the slow motion is like really good. I just think it's so misplaced from where the series
Oh,
started
absolutely.
and
That's-
what made the series so good out of the gate. They course corrected. They did a 180.
well, okay. So that I remember seeing an interview with Tom Cruise. It might have been during like the press tour for this movie or 3, I can't remember, but he was talking about sort of the philosophy behind these movies going forward. The idea was that each movie would be a different director and like have a completely different feel and tone.
Sure.
So, you know, I was okay with
Very
that.
hit or miss, though.
But of course, like I was just very forgiving because I fucking love John Woo.
Yeah.
So I love that
I don't know.
shit.
It's like, yeah, it's a course correction, but it's like it didn't need a course correction. The first movie was well received. Like
Overall, but people still were like, I'm confused about this.
right, okay, so they dumb it down and they do
Kind of,
MI2, and it's like just put a gun in his hand and make him shoot 10,000 rounds across the movie and fly around on motorcycles, and it's like, yeah, okay, I guess we're really living up to the impossible name right now, you know. But
Look, you got great cinematography, you got a great villain, a great final fight. You've got
on the beach,
yes,
Yeah.
and then the score. Hans Zimmer's music is so good in that movie. It's
there
really good.
are good elements.
Yeah.
It's
the
just
track called Infection. With
Yeah,
the subtle guitar.
the Lisa Gerard vocals.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Epic. He was doing that around Gladiator, and you can hear the similarities with the score.
absolutely. That's when he started. That's when the wailing female vocal trend started.
Mhm.
Was that movie and Gladiator, and then every fucking epic movie had the wailing female in it, which was a very annoying trend that they have lost, thankfully.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah.
All those things are great. The team was okay. I like the setting. The Australia backdrop was different. In fact, it remains one of the
More unique settings.
out
Yeah.
of the entire series, I think.
yeah, that's fair. That's fair. I'll give you that.
Okay, real quick, and then we'll move on to the next one. I think I may have the scene in question. Let's see.
All right, yeah, play it.
I'll have no audio on it.
Oh, are we gonna be able to see it? Oh, there we go.
Oh,
Okay.
There it is. There it is.
It's,
yeah. The man who was almost Wolverine.
Yes, and he couldn't be Wolverine because he was committed to this film.
That's
so
right.
So we got the slow motion.
Really good-
We're doing a
really
little
good-
mini commentary right here. Let's see if they got
Really
the
good
zoom.
All right,
camera
there
over
is a
here.
zoom. They do have a zoom.
There
Oh,
is a
there it
zoom
is.
from above, like
There's
high
the scarf.
high angle.
There's the scarf.
Is it high angle?
Oh man.
Yeah, sort of high angle.
It's
Yeah,
just
so
all
it's a
slow motion.
yeah.
Hold on. Here it comes. Here it comes. Blown away. It's just a close up. See, it's just a
Oh,
close
there's
up.
the zoom.
It was a call. Come on,
Yeah,
that
It's
was
a
a
slow
mild
zoom. It
zoom.
wasn't as fast.
You guys made it sound like it was like a fucking like
It
kung
was a
fu
mild
movie zoom.
zoom.
Yeah, like Quentin Tarantino type of shit. Okay. No. All right.
I was just at this point. I was like, "What am I watching? What am I watching?
A
This is
fucking
such a
masterpiece.
this is such a
That's what you're
departure
watching.
from the first film."
You're watching a dope ass action movie. That's what you're watching.
Hey, I'm surprised I pulled that off. Maybe we'll get a couple clips from the other films if we have a reference we need to look back on.
Yeah.
So we got the tier.
Bring the list up, Kyle. Let's get through this one.
Let's get through
Getting
this one.
there.
The series low.
All right. Where's that tier list?
I
There we
mean,
go.
yeah. Did any of the other films do the slow motion as well as 2? I don't know.
No, but look, it's the worst one. I can admit that it is. You know, but I well, okay, hold on. But that's just it though. Like, and I know what you're talking about, Kyle, which film you're referring to. But if I were to pick between the two of those, I would still probably watch 2 over that one because I have more fun watching the second one.
Yeah.
Okay,
it's
let's
ridiculous.
see. Let's see where it lands. Okay, where would you rate this in terms of the chart here? It is 1 through 10.
Yeah. Mission
So-
fail.
Well, it's not. That's not an option.
Oh.
It's
What's the
There's-
third one up?
the-
With the
okay. So 3
I can't
is
see from here.
technically mission abort, and then 4 on to 9 is just numbered. But top of the top tier is
Mission
accomplished.
disavowed. Mission
Disavowed is the worst.
Yeah.
Okay,
that's-
so you got disavowed.
You-
What's above
Bobby,
disavowed?
seriously,
Mission
you would put it
abort.
at- You would put it at abort at basically like 2.
I would put it at 1. This is my least favorite film in the series.
I put this at 3.
What?
Yeah.
Like if I'm being
Oh,
honest,
man.
I would put it at 3. If I'm being honest,
Okay, so
Well,
we got
yeah,
Bobby. You're at
go with your gut.
disavowed. You want this thing just annihilated from Earth.
I do. Matt is a
That's
little
so
more
mean.
forgiving with this film because of his connection to John Woo. I like Broken Arrow. I like his other movies, but this was like, it was because of the follow-up. If this came out as like the first Mission Impossible movie, I would have been like, okay, that was like a crazy action movie. I
Stop.
wouldn't have been as tied to it as I was
It's not just my connection, John. I like the movie. Huh?
This is interesting. I like the movie better than you two.
Where
I
would you
think
put
it
it?
stands at a 5. I think it's
Okay.
it's a solid action movie, and
High praise.
High
and it
praise.
has. So you put it. So Bob, you're at
Mission
1.
disavowed. Mission
Yeah.
abortion. That's what
Matt,
this
you're
is.
at 2 or 3.
I know I'm in the middle of you guys, so
He's
maybe
at 3.
it should probably be in the middle then, because
Were you
you
at
guys
3?
are. Yeah, I'm at 3.
Okay, so let's put it at 4.
Wait,
It's at
there is
4.
no 3 on this
What is
list.
that for?
No, it goes from
No, because I
the-
rated it as a 5, so we're gonna meet in the middle here.
yeah, but it goes 5, 4, and then there's no 3, and then mission abort, and then mission.
Yeah, okay,
Disavowed.
well,
Where's
Mission
3?
Abort occupies basically like 2 and 3 and 2.
So there's no 1.
1 is the disavowed.
So what's 3?
Abort.
Wait,
No,
Kyle,
what's
wherever
2
you
then?
put it just now, that's where I wanted to put it. So
4.
that's actually where I wanted to put it.
See,
I can't see the numbers from here.
that he put you at 4.
Oh, that's where I want it.
Right,
Yes, I'm sorry.
but it's 3 up on the list.
Okay, yeah, that's why I said 3.
Yeah, but
Alright,
I
Kyle-
said
Kyle
5,
knows
so
what
I'm
he's doing.
adding 2. Okay, so we're compromising here.
Yeah, put me at 1, please.
No, this is democratic, so we're going to be finding.
Yeah, we're gonna find the mean average.
Right.
It's averaging. There we go.
Yeah,
Okay,
that-
so
I think that's
moving
fair.
on.
That's fair.
Moving
That's
on,
good.
we're getting to 3. Let's get to 3.
Yeah.
Where be 3?
Well, I think that 3
There we are.
personally.
Oh wait, sorry. Let's get
Is
to
that
the
the
chat
Brad
real
Bird
quick.
one?
Let's look at the chat
No.
real quick.
This is the J.J. Abrams one.
Oh, J.J. Abrams. Brad Bird did Ghost
Protocol.
Protocol. What was the 3 have a subtitle?
No, it was the last one to have a numeric.
Okay, so it was just MI3.
Yes.
Okay, we got
J.J.
story
Abrams,
to
yeah.
screen. Dude, I've seen your
Mr.
comments. Your comments rock on the videos. MI2 is
Mr.
preposterous,
Mr.
but
Mystery
it's
Box.
absolutely glorious to watch.
Thank you. Story to screen.
Mhm.
That is absolutely correct.
Mm-hmm.
Let's tune in. Hey, Cammy. Love the guys at Hardcut. Great team up here. I agree. And we're getting heated.
Let's tune in. Love it. Thank you.
Again, story to screen. I would dare say it was an important movie for Tom Cruise's career going into the new millennium. The poster, yes. The
Dope
iconic
poster.
shot of him on the motorcycle with the fiery background.
With
It
the scratch
lingers.
on his cheek.
Agreed.
This film
Agreed.
will be remembered.
It's so awesome.
Yeah, and especially at the MTV movie
Oh,
awards.
we get the Ben Stiller.
The Ben Stiller stuntman skit.
which is fucking fantastic.
I mean, I'd rather watch that than the movie.
That skit is so good.
Yeah.
Megan the Texan. This review from Hardcut is a disagreement for the ages.
Mm.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
Doesn't happen often.
No, this is the one that we really differ on for sure.
I'm feeling the vitriol from you, Bobby, about this
Yeah,
towards me.
well,
damn.
but it's all
you're
uphill.
really upset that it landed on 4 because
It's all uphill from here for me now. So we're past.
Yeah, we
the,
got
the
past
dark.
the
Yeah.
the the darkness is
The best and the worst out of the gate.
Ben says MI2 is goofy, fun relic of its era, last of its kind before the overdone Bourne series vibes of mid-late 2000s.
Before all that handheld bullshit.
Before
Yeah,
the
that
camera
shit
was
doesn't
up inside
hold
the
up,
fight.
does it?
Yeah. No.
It doesn't hold up very well.
No.
No, when you
Shaky
see a
cam.
movie like that, it sticks out, and you're like, oh, I
Yeah.
remember when shit was filmed.
Especially
I don't
when
know- I don't know.
Havoc. Did you guys watch Havoc?
No, not
Not
yet.
yet.
Not yet.
I don't recommend it because it is just insane with the shaky cam, and I hated the movie for it.
Damn, that
I
sucks.
hated
Yeah.
the movie for it.
I
I
know,
like
like
that
a lot of
director.
people do like the Bourne sequels. I'm not really a fan. I like the first one, and that's kind of where my like of the series ends.
I like the third one.
Like story wise, whatever. It's just the action is just it just got too ridiculous with the camera being like all up in there shaking. Like you can't see a damn thing.
It's not as bad in 3, but yes, it sucks.
I
Like,
just-
it does. And the first
Yeah.
the first one is the best.
Yeah.
Agreed.
So MI3.
MI3.
Wait, hold on one second.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Megan the Texan rating Thandie. That's not how you. Is that how you spell her new name? Thandwi.
Oh, jeez.
Thandwi
That is-
Newton.
That's so ridiculous. Thandie, you should have kept it just get rid of
Thandwi.
the W. Yeah. Rating her as a hunt girl. Yeah, we're
Well,
gonna get
maybe
to
we-
that.
She's attractive.
No. We're
Yeah,
gonna get to that. We're gonna
Maybe
get
we
to
come
that.
back to
Oh,
that
yeah,
later.
We're coming
All
back
right.
to that. We're coming
With
back.
this,
To that.
yeah.
All right, let's get to 3.
All right. I think
Trace.
that I'm probably in the minority in this one, but
Hot take incoming.
Probably. I don't really. Three is one. Three's. It's not a bad movie, but to me, it's like very forgettable, and it feels so fucking J.J. Abrams.
What does that mean?
I don't know. It's got that like. He's got like a way of doing the summer popcorn movie. And it's really hard to explain. But if you watch Star Trek, like anything he touches, it has a feel to it. And I'm not entirely sold on.
Are we talking about visual feel?
No, I actually like his visuals a lot. I think he's actually very underrated in the visual department. But just like the whole concept of like the love story in this movie. I don't know. That's fucking very J.J. Abrams. And like, there's that scene where he's got between her where I need you to trust me, and she's like, okay, and he's like, what?
Dude,
you trust me?
Are you serious?
The introduction of his wife into this series, I thought, was the biggest misstep. Like, I still don't understand where this random wife came from and why it was needed. Like, and then he's just like, oh, we can't be together. And then she's just like this background character for the next 3 films. Get the fuck out of here with this. Like, this is where we enter the stretch of films where I'm just like, oh, we're entering the forgettable stretch. 3 through 5.
He should be like Indiana Jones. He's got a new bang each movie.
You thought that this was going to end with MI2. We're at another divide here.
Well, hold on.
No.
But I will give 3 this though. It's probably, everyone says it's got the best villain, and I will agree to that. But the way they fucking kill him sucks.
Yeah, he had a stupid death,
and so that like undermines my feelings towards him.
Yeah. No, Kyle, don't get me wrong. Like
Hoffman's death.
Yeah,
I like this movie a lot better than I did. I'd rather watch this than 2. But this is where the series started to kind of shift a little in terms of like, okay, we don't really know what this series is right now, because you have 1. Then you go do an about face for 2, and then 3 comes along, and it's like, okay, no, we're going to pull 2 back a little, but we're still not going back to what 1 was.
Correct. Yeah.
And then all of a sudden he just has this wife.
Yeah.
It's like, where did this come from?
Well, technically fiance.
Well, fiance, sure, but they introduce her, and then she has staying power across all these films as just like this background character, and it's like, why? She should have just been in the 3rd one, and then. That's it if you're going to do that angle. But they kept her around for like, what, 2-3 more films?
Yeah, or if she's going to kind of be a presence in the other ones, just have her be in it then. You know what I mean?
Right,
like,
especially by the time you get to Fallout. Like, she's in the movie for like 5 minutes. It's like, why? Why even bother?
Because the only reason they were able to pull that off and what makes Fallout so strong is because of the precedent that was set in MI3. That scene that you kind of just brushed past and didn't think it was that big of a deal when they're on the roof, and they have that very intimate discussion that's limited in dialogue. That I listened to actually an interview with the writers, and Roberto Orsi was one of them with his partner. He died recently, so rest in peace. They were talking about how the earlier drafts were a lot more wordy with their conversation, and each time they came back to it, and then closer to shooting, yada yada, they just cut it down, make it simple. And what they did was they emphasize those beats of silence, and they're powerful, and you have this subtle piano in the back, which I know harkens back to Giacchino on like Lost and yada yada. I'm not a huge fan of Giacchino. I really am not. I think his score doesn't actually work, neither in the 4th. I wish Lorne Balfe had been on the series for a lot longer. But that scene, it's on its own. Like, just look at that scene between them and showing their intimacy and his struggle to want to reveal to her, but he can't yet. And it's just the acting between them it's a fantastic acting scene where she's really desperate to know, but she does trust him, but she's reminding him, like, that's all I can tell you. That's the subtext there, this is all I can tell you. Even though I know you trust me.
I don't dispute that, the scene was written well, it was powerful, whatever. It was the fact that she just appears as like his fiance, yet she's not integrated into his life in a way that he can be truly honest with her. And then she's not around. Like they could have done a few different things with her, but they chose to just relegate her to the background for the next 3 films. And I don't know. It's like if you're gonna have her there, either have her there the whole time, or just get rid of her.
Yeah.
But I get what you're saying. Like when you go back into Fallout, and it's like, oh yeah, he's still playing this game with her, but like she's moved on. Like it's over. Like I don't care about her anymore. Like he's got his team now. He's got like other people in his life. It's just so weird to me that he keeps going back to her when she just appeared randomly in this 3rd film.
That makes sense that you don't have to care about her in Fallout. It's that you care that Ethan cares about her. It's not that you're supposed to care about her.
So it's like, in a movie, you want to give your hero that sort of emotional crux or whatever that may be. And this one they chose like, oh, we're going to give him a fiance. Yeah. That's the thing. But she just felt like, boom, we're just introducing her. Boom. Like, once the movie starts, he's engaged. We're supposed to like her. And, she's a good actress. She's cute. Mm-hmm. She's got a really good personality. So it's easy to sort of,
you like her. That's not the problem. That's not the problem.
Kiss, bang, bang.
She's great. She's fantastic in that.
And she probably got this role.
It's not her as a character. It's just like it's just how they chose to use this character over 4 films. I just found that odd.
I mean, I agree with that totally, but I am setting aside that aspect of it right now just to talk about the 3rd movie. Mm-hmm. And to me, it just that. Tom Cruise has a girlfriend. That's what it feels like in this movie. It's like juvenile almost.
Yeah.
What? I don't like it.
He's got this girlfriend, this fiance who he can't divulge information to about what he does. It's like, well, then why the hell is he with her?
Yeah.
I don't know. It was a weaker aspect of this film and the series. Like that's nothing against like the character and like his relationship, like their dynamic on screen. That's not really it.
Well, and I'm bitching about this right now, but this is a total nitpick territory.
Yeah.
Like when I watch the movie, this doesn't.
No, it doesn't ruin the movie.
No, absolutely not.
Well, then let's move on to other aspects. Like, what are the great things that you like about this movie? Because there are some.
Philip Seymour Hoffman's really good, and
he's fantastic.
And this is the first movie where they have a solid team. Like the team works really well together. Yes, they built
a good team out.
Yeah, Maggie Q is hot, and she's great in this movie. I did like.
It's unfortunate they didn't ever bring her back.
It is, and Lawrence Fishburne as the director was cool. Billy Crudup is super underrated actor.
He's great.
He's good in this movie.
He's good. This one introduced Simon Pegg, right?
Yes.
Yeah, so he comes onto the team. You got Luther still, so you still have the connection there. And then,
I think they could have done. Listen, Luther. I think he's the best in the first film. For some reason, he goes on autopilot the majority of the series. I think they could have done 1 or 2 movies without him.
Well, they did do 1 movie without him. Kind of.
One? No, he was in it, but yeah.
Ghost Protocol. He comes in at the end. Yeah, he's not in it.
Yeah, and I think that was a good break from that character. And he just had a cameo in that one. That worked.
They kind of just didn't really know what to do with him moving forward after the first one.
Right.
Because he's an opportunist in the first one. Yeah. And then all of a sudden he shifts into like this philosophical, that's every line he has in the later films is just questioning like life.
He made the choice.
When he's talking to Ethan, like everything's just about like philosophy, and it's like, okay, where was this?
He suddenly becomes the heart of the movie, and it's like that's not what Luther was.
More than just the heart. He's like bringing up every line that he has is just bringing up existential.
Yeah, and we'll get to that. We'll get to that.
But,
and I threw us off, so I apologize. The third one has those great aspects of Philip Seymour Hoffman. You have a great cast in this, and the visuals, the way the film looks, and harkening back to the beginning of the discussion about this film, is that J.J. Abrams shoots. He really appreciates his blacks and like true colors and like high contrast, and I really appreciate that. High contrast, high saturation. It's similar to what Michael Bay does. Yes. I like that because
he's got
striking
punchy
visual. Yeah, I mean, you can even see it in like my camera right now. how like it's really dark behind me and I emphasize the warmth, etc. Like tune up the saturation a little bit more in the contrast, and it'll look like what J.J. Abrams shoots.
No, he's very underrated as a visual director. I think that fuck the new Star Wars movies, but the ones that he made,
Star Trek looks fantastic.
They're shot incredibly well. Like he's like a mellowed out Michael Bay. That's like his shooting style.
Well, not with the lens flares. The lens flares, he goes over the top a little bit.
Not
he likes his
needs
anamorphics.
a good medium in MI3.
He really just did that. Like he's got the stereotype of that, but that's really Star Trek. Like everything else, there's lens flares in his movies, but that's because he shoots anamorphic lenses and when they cast the light that way.
That's just part of how that lens works.
That's the characteristics of shooting with those lenses.
Yeah.
But I don't even care about the lens flares. I think Star Trek is, even if you don't like that movie,
work well
it's a very nice looking movie. He's got a very slick kinetic style. The camera's always doing something, and like a camera move will start and then like it cuts right at the right time, and like all the editing's motivated, and you can tell that all of his shots, it's all thought out beforehand. Whereas like if you watch a Christopher Nolan movie, that shit's like all handheld and like figured out later on in the editing room.
Yeah.
But J.J. Abrams, you can tell, like knows
very
exactly
deliberate
what he's looking for.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree. Let's get to some of the comments about MI3.
Oh yeah, this is the one that had the rabbit's foot.
The rabbit's foot.
The mystery box.
Yeah, the rabbit's
mystery
foot
box,
does come back.
JJ
to
and his
remind
mystery.
the audience that it comes back. Christopher McQuarrie decided to bring it back. Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
Oh, it's
actually code for an AI.
It's a code. It's like a virus,
right?
But it's got
biohazard symbols on it. But it's a
bullshit.
It's a computer. Okay. Yeah.
Dumb.
So Benjamin says MI3's fascinating follow-up to the operatic second one. Feels like a hybrid.
Yeah.
Feels like a hybrid between 1 and 2. Extremely fast, entertaining.
Mm-hmm.
Opens floodgates for the series after it with different aspects.
Yeah,
This is the first one though where, like, what the movies will eventually become.
Yeah,
this
set
is
the
where it
tone
started.
for the rest of the series. Kind of. They found their footing a little bit, and they're like, okay, this is a
we
good
want to ground
mix.
this.
This was a good mix of the first two. Let's keep this going a little bit.
Because obviously J.J. Abrams, this was a Bad Robot production, and I know the Ghost Protocol was also Bad Robot. I can't remember if 5 was, but there was like between these two movies,
he had his fingers on the next few films. Yeah.
Before the McQuarrie era.
Megan the Texan, the micro explosive implant is such a cool looming
that was
threat.
Cool.
Everything else in the MI film seems to be full of explosions. Plus, this film shows the use of masks.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, the masks. They
when they make it more realistic, they implement a device that you actually see that makes them. The other films didn't do that. They just
they show it in later films.
But this is the first one to show it.
This is the first one to show it. Yeah.
Well, yeah.
Before that, it's just like they just had them in their back pocket.
Well, and the second one was the first one to show the voice
thing.
Which was a very good addition.
Which was cool.
Yes.
And they didn't cheat in the first one about that either, because you notice in the train sequence, hopping back real quick to the first one, is that
Jim doesn't say anything.
Ethan as Jim in the train car, when he's listening to Jim's wife spill the beans like an idiot, he doesn't say anything.
Yeah.
Because he knows he can't.
Yep.
So the technology wasn't even there yet for within the narrative of the Mission Impossible universe.
He kind of just like has this, he's just kind of like looking at her.
Yeah.
And she's just spilling the tea.
Well, speaking of the masks and the first one, going back to the first one for a second, the character that Tom Cruise acts as in the very beginning of the movie, when they set that character up, it's just Tom Cruise, like in makeup in the news report.
Yeah.
So when he does you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's kind of lame, but
that's the only time you actually have an actor with a mask on who's the actual actor. you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like pretending to be the other character. He's a dude pretending to be another dude disguised. Anyway.
Yeah.
All right. Let's move to our next film.
We got to rate it
We got to
first, right?
rank. We got to put it on the list.
Oh, thank you. Thank you for that reminder.
It's a tough one.
Let's see.
This is where it's going to start to get hard for me. 3, 4, and 5.
There. Okay. I didn't think about this actually, but I know it's going to be probably higher than you guys. I think it sits at a 7.
Let's see.
What say you?
Where's 7 at in relation? Can you point it out for me, Bobby?
Yeah, 7's right there. Let me make this bigger.
I also have it color coded,
7's
so
right
it's
there.
at orange.
I
It's
think I would
just
actually
as
put-
orange starts.
I'd put it there too.
I
think I'd put it there.
put it at a 6.
Surprising, it's pretty close. So 7 wins out.
It's got that that cool shot where he's on the bridge. And
When he
then-
gets blasted.
That's
into
cool.
The, yeah.
That's fucking
the
awesome.
explosion blows him sideways into the truck.
Now that was a real, like that happened.
Yep.
The only
Yeah.
thing that they added that is digital, which makes it seem as if it is a
Effect shot.
digital effect, is because they added the shakiness.
Yeah.
If you look at the original shot, it's a steady pullback shot, and it's
Yeah.
they do that on purpose as a baseline
yeah.
for the shot. For those that don't know. So yeah, surprisingly, MI3 sits at a very nice rating on this chart, and
I feel like
very
most
pleased by
people like 3 a lot, and some people rate it as the best one.
No.
And I really disagree with that. But
well, I did do a chart, or not a chart, but a voting of only 4 of the films, the ones that I consider the top, and Ghost Protocol of my subscribership rated that the highest.
yeah, that
Which
that's
is our
that's at the
next
top usually.
film. Which
Yes,
is our
yes.
next film. Let's get to this. Oh, I heard
Brad Bird.
heard a sigh.
Yeah.
That didn't sound too good, Bobby.
I was okay. I actually had very high hopes for Ghost Protocol
Oh, here we
because
go.
I think Brad Bird was fresh off of Incredibles or something,
Yeah,
and I really liked Incredibles.
it's great.
Hey, Sin. I just want to say hi to Sin.
Oh, Sin's here.
Yes.
Hi, Sin.
Hey, Sin.
Glad you're here, Sin.
It's been
All
a
right,
while.
so Ghost. We're talking Ghost Protocol. What were we saying, Bobby?
I do like Ghost Protocol. I don't think it's the best. I don't know if like
A lot of people do. At least,
out of
you know,
that
around 40
stretch, the
people.
3 through 5 stretch, it's probably my favorite. You know, it's got that Dubai scene.
Great.
The building scene is great.
Yeah.
That was when though, like, they brought in Jeremy Renner because like
Paramount was like, I don't think that Tom Cruise has star
less-
power
yeah,
anymore.
Yeah, so they were trying to like shift it over to him a little bit and show that like, oh, he's got some fighting skills, you know. But then they abandoned that. I mean, the movie has some great sequences, but there's a lot of it that I'm just like, okay, it's just one of those middle movies.
These are where the movies start to blur.
Yes.
And okay, this is when people say this is the best one. I have to strongly disagree, and for the main reason for that is the villain is the most fucking forgettable.
Oh, yeah,
villain
definitely.
Agreed.
in
It
the
is
entire
the
series
weakest
in this
villain.
movie.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
are all in agreement on that. This is the lamest
And
villain.
Lamest motivation.
Despite
Terrible.
like how much is great about the film, like that the movie gets like a big ding from me on that.
Yeah.
Just the villain, because that's like
That's
you don't have a good
huge.
villain, that's huge.
Yeah, he sucks. He's so forgettable. In fact, when I talk to people about this movie, everyone says, "Oh, who's the?" I don't remember who it is. Who is the
but it's
bad
their
guy?
favorite one.
This is the favorite one,
Yeah,
exactly.
uh-huh.
So that it can't possibly be the best one just because of that aspect. So no, but I do like this film. This film might arguably have the best team, maybe. One
Pretty
of the
good
best
team in
teams.
this one.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
that even though what they were trying to do with Jeremy Renner is annoying, he is a good addition to the series.
He should have stuck around.
He should have stuck around.
But then they were like, oh wait, Tom's, you know, he's back, he's doing crazy stunts, and Renner was like, okay.
yeah.
You're not passing the torch, then I guess I'm done.
No. Actually, he did a recent interview where he talked about how he didn't want to commit to these movies because of the way they shoot them. It's
Yeah,
on
that's
and off,
yeah.
on and
Also,
off. He
'cause
just
he's not
couldn't
the
take
star.
scheduling.
Well, that's also why
couldn't take it
Rebecca.
anymore.
That's why Rebecca Ferguson ended up bailing too. Is
Right.
for
Yeah.
that same reason.
It's we got a universal thing going on with these actors that they just don't want to stick around for that long.
Yeah.
It's understandable because they got
It
families.
is understandable. They have families and they just have other shit they want to be doing, like other
Yeah.
There you go,
projects,
too.
you know.
Yeah.
But the Burj Khalifa scene is, you know, that might be my favorite stunt out of the whole.
Spectacular.
That's a top tier stunt.
And the IMAX
it is
really worked
thoroughly
with that.
rewatchable, and that adds to
yeah.
it.
Yeah.
The reason that they filmed it in IMAX, and it makes me frustrated that they haven't really released the true tall version of it. Like, where the hell do you find that? They should have, you know, The Dark Knight released its own sections on the Blu-ray of the tall aspect ratio, the full aspect ratio of the IMAX. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think they released that for Ghost Protocol.
Well,
And that's
I mean,
annoying.
unless, and I can't remember the special features on The Dark Knight, but if you actually just watch the movie, it's not the full.
It's not.
like-
No,
yeah.
the one that they released, it's you get a little bit. You get the
Yeah,
it fills the screen,
fills up the it fills up the
excuse me,
69 screen, but
yeah,
yeah.
you get, like, we're talking. It looks full screen.
yeah,
Okay, that's what the true IMAX looks like. That's why you have when you have films, even the last one, Final Reckoning, is not filmed with true IMAX. It's digital IMAX, which is
Correct,
fine,
yes.
but it's not true IMAX. Okay, like the experience of watching. I didn't see Ghost Protocol in the theater, unfortunately, but I saw Dark Knight and was unforgettable. Like, there was nothing else like it.
I saw Ghost Protocol in IMAX on
Tell
IMAX
us.
film. It
Tell
looked
us about
fucking. Well, first of all, you know, they showed the Dark Knight Rises prologue before that,
You
so that was
love
cool.
to talk about that.
But I'm not going to get into
it's like
that.
you have
but,
trauma and PTSD from seeing that. No, tell us about Ghost Protocol, though. And
yeah, no, it looked great. That whole sequence, the Burj Khalifa sequence, looked fucking phenomenal. So when the first shot is when the first shot where it cuts to IMAX, if I remember correctly, is where he like steps off and like the camera does. It's like a vertigo effect, and it was
it's
so
a fantastic
cool.
scene.
keep keep going.
No, I mean, it really did. It was one of the best. It actually might be the best uses of IMAX I've ever seen.
Yeah.
That sequence.
Yeah. But like, this is when the series starts to shift into the focus being around like, here's the stunt.
Yeah.
Here's the big thing that Tom Cruise is doing for this film. And that kind of, as cool as these stunts are, and I love seeing them, and I love that they put the emphasis on the practicality of all this, it kind of takes away from the rest of the film for me. Like, I want to see a film that stands on its own as a whole. But then it, like, all of a sudden it just became about like, oh, he's doing this one crazy thing for this movie. And like, that's when I think back about the earlier films. It's like, when I think about like one, like, yeah, it's got that crazy, the vault scene, but the whole film is fantastic. You know, two is fuck two. But like when you get to this, it's like, this is when it kind of started shifting into the focus of like, here's what we're doing and here's how we're making this film now. And we're going to focus on this crazy action scene. Fine. But for me, like, that kind of takes me out of it a little bit. Like, I want to enjoy the entire film.
Just watching, I have it playing. Just
Yeah.
watching
That's
it
the
on
shot
this
right there.
tiny little
Yeah.
scene.
Yeah.
It's just it's a heights thing, so it's a personal thing for me. But dear God, do they viscerally?
It looked
Those gloves were so cool.
So good.
Dude, and also, like, this was probably one of the most tense scenes in the Mission Impossible film. Like, when the glove starts failing.
That's why the stunt for me is the best, because it incorporates the story elements the best, in my opinion. It's an easy get when it's just like heights, because everyone's afraid of heights.
Right. But this is like when the glove starts failing and he has to jump to the open window and he misses, and it's like, oh, that was very tense.
Yeah, but
Right
see
here,
what you're showing right there, you know, like you were saying earlier, that's not the proper aspect ratio. The proper aspect ratio.
You got about double the frame.
You do
essentially that we are not seeing.
Yeah, it's almost a 4:3 frame, the IMAX image.
It's insane how little, like half of the experience we're getting out of watching what you're seeing, audience, right now. Just picture this double, from top to bottom. You're
Yeah.
getting, a full screen image, essentially 4:3. You remember when, for the older generation, when we had full screen TVs?
Mm.
Yeah. But in true IMAX with the crazy resolution, 15
And
hertz.
that shot is so cool where the helicopter is going back and
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
revealing. He looks like a little spider on the
Yep.
building.
Yeah.
Fucking cool. Yeah, that's awesome. But you do have a point though, where it's each one of the movies sort of centered on wherever the stunt was.
Yeah.
That's where all the attention goes to.
I do want to say this to describe why, because I was thinking about this the other day. Why is it that a sequence that doesn't involve speed have such a blatant, effective, visceral impact on an audience? And what I realize is not only is because people have a fear of heights, but it's the way that they shoot it. And it's not only because think about it. This is one of the rare action sequences that involves a slow ascent and a slow progression in the action sequence. And this is an action sequence, even though it's a slow one, at least at first. He gets to swinging later on. But what Brad Bird did so excellently, and I think a lot of this is attributed to him, and it's probably to Tom Cruise in coming up with this, but the slow progression adds to the effectiveness because it's like what's more disturbing? It's not when you see a knife in a death sequence go in someone really quickly. It's when remember the scene in Saving Private Ryan where the guy
when it goes in.
slow, and he slowly goes in. That's what's so disturbing and effective.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
when you see a sequence like this, when it comes to action, and him slowly climbing up the building, and you see his gadget not working with the sticky glove, things start to fail, which is really smart that Brad Bird was aware that he was doing. He wanted to make sure that this movie showed that their gadgets were going to malfunction. And that was incredibly smart because that's conflict. Too many of these films, actually, this is a criticism I can, throw at these movies, is that a lot of these gadgets just, they work. No big deal.
Or they work or
Yeah.
they don't work when they need them not to work.
Yeah.
When the movie needs them not to work. Like the mask machine failing in
Dead Reckoning.
Dead Reckoning Part 1.
It fails
Fucking
at the
bullshit.
worst possible time, and it's like, oh shit. Ooh, ooh.
And there's no reason as to why it failed. It just, it's not working.
Yeah, it just fails.
Yeah, and we can top this off with this. Hopefully, the audience is enjoying this little window we have of this sequence.
The movie playing.
Of
just
the movie
the
playing. We're
just the
basically
visuals,
doing a
like you
mini
get caught up in
commentary.
it. Yeah,
Yeah.
you get caught up in the visuals because they're really well done.
Yeah, him trying to get over to the window. Like this
I-
moment was so tense.
Look, there are a lot of action sequences that are harder to do and more prep, like the Halo jump and the biplane sequence in Final Reckoning. But dear God, this sequence is fucking fantastic.
It is.
I love it. I think it might be my favorite.
I think so. Yeah, I would probably agree with that.
It might not be the best, but it's so rewatchable.
No, I think
I'll come back to this over and over again.
I think it is the best. To me, it's certainly the best stunt out of all of them. And
Jeez.
I think so. And you know what else is kind of underrated about this movie? No one really ever talks about, but the way the movie opens, like where he's in the jail, the prison, like the Russian prison or whatever, that was cool. Like it's a good mysterious opening. No one ever talks about that, but the movie stands out for me because of that opening as well. But
The prison fight,
yeah, the prison fight's cool.
Yeah, we got it going right now.
The prison fight.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, what I noticed is that the standout for this movie was that sequence on the Burj Khalifa. And the weak points is the villain. Like we've acknowledged that.
Why?
Like, dear
Seriously,
God,
he
Yeah.
sucks.
this villain is so forgettable and stock.
And the guy's a good actor. I'm not saying he's not. I mean, unfortunately, he's dead. He died a few
Yeah,
years
rest
ago.
in peace.
Yeah.
Rest in
Yeah,
peace. But
I
we're
mean,
not criticizing his acting.
Yeah,
necessarily.
it's not.
It
It's not
might be a
him.
little bit of his acting, but you know, a lot of it.
Well,
is
it's one of
because
those
the
things where
writing.
because of the writing, what do you do with that? You know, he did what he can do with it. You know,
Yeah.
and it's just not memorable whatsoever.
Yeah.
Unfortunately,
Paula Patton is a standout. Paula Patton,
I'm not
right? Is
really
her
into
name?
her. Yeah, I'm not into her.
Mm.
Not my thing.
No, dude, she's taller than Tom Cruise. She's one of the few tall women
Well,
that they
who
actually
isn't?
feature. Well, no, that's not true actually, because a lot of these women are cast to accommodate his height, but Paula Patton stands out as someone who they didn't care about that. You know, and
She's
they actually
she's not a
feature
good
a fight
actress.
sequence between her and the French chick, and that's one of the rare sequences where we see
Eh,
two chicks going at it. So yeah.
I think she's a terrible actress.
mid.
I'm not saying she's great. I'm just saying she's a good variation to the sequence of
Yeah.
the film and the series. So
Maggie Q is better. I will.
that's fair. No, that's fair.
I'll hold
fair.
that. She's better.
They could have brought her back, especially.
Oh yeah, way better.
Yeah, there's some other discussion about what other characters they could have brought back for the last two, but we'll get into that. But
Yeah.
beforehand, let's get to a couple of these comments. Sin. That sequence gets me every single time. Shudder. Yeah. Yeah. She's talking about the Burj Khalifa sequence.
Of course.
It's a standout,
Yep.
but the villain isn't.
Villain sucks.
Psilocybin 420. It's a party. It's a party. Yeah, got a little drink. Cheers.
Bring tube TVs back. CRT.
So Megan said Leah Seydoux, who is the French chick, has been in the MI franchise and 007. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
She's been around. Cool, strong. Oh, and she was in that other film that was on, like, the Academy just donned it with praise because it was it was pretentious, pornographic lesbian chick.
Blorn is Blorn. You said porn. Blue is the warmest color.
Yep.
Yep.
That fucking movie. Bullshit. This is probably Ghost Protocols.
I call those art house pornos.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think that
what was that one with Chloe Savini?
the brown bunny,
The brown bunny.
yeah.
Was that
where
what
she
it was called?
blew Vincent Gallo on screen.
Like on camera.
Yeah.
Vincent Gallo.
Yeah. Was it worth it?
I think this is one of the only movies where she doesn't annoy me in. Leah Seydoux. She bugs me.
I like her in Spectre.
Whoa.
I don't. If I had to, she's just in Spectre and in.
I didn't
the
like her
last
in the
one,
second. I didn't like her in the follow-up. I liked her a lot in Spectre.
I don't like that movie. She was fine. I
I
don't know.
thought she was a good Bond girl.
She didn't follow through with, going into the last film, which just wrecked the franchise. But
No Time to Cook.
No Time to Cook. For another time.
did you guys do a review on that?
No,
That
that
was
was
before
before
our
we had the channel.
No.
Missed opportunity.
Well,
Damn.
there will be.
Are you?
James Bond
would you
will
ever
return.
go back? It's not going to be that bad. Would you ever backdate and do? You talked about doing Barbie and No Time to Die. Now I'm mentioning, like, could you do a bit? You did a retrospect for Top Gun. Versus
Well,
yeah, and it's
Top
still
Gun
it's
Maverick.
nobody
It was one of
watched
our
it.
lowest performing videos.
Oh,
Yeah.
People
shut
keep
up.
telling us like you got to go do old movies, and then we do something, and then it's like nobody watches it. It's
Yeah.
like, well, then why are we putting all this effort in?
We would actually prefer doing that. Like,
Yeah,
there's so
I'd
many-
love to do that.
That's
Yeah.
my argument, is that you actually want to. Why can't you do? I've put this argument out to you guys before.
It's
One
because
for them, one for you.
well, because we have such limited time,
Yeah, that's the issue.
and we like so much time to do stuff, so we have to focus on growth content, and
Okay.
we're not growing if we're wasting 2 weeks doing a video that no one's going to watch.
It's like an
you know?
algorithm hit whenever we do one of those.
Yeah. And that sucks. But like, if we were growing faster, we would be doing that stuff. But, you know, we're not there yet. So
I can't.
it's not like we
argue
do.
with
We
that.
do have plans to do it. It's just
Yeah. Well,
not.
it's
I mean,
after working it in, doing both, working in between, working the algorithm.
It's. I'd be open to doing like more live streams reviewing stuff.
Kind of like this.
But
Mhm.
you know, it's just for us. We put a lot of time into the edit.
Yeah. It takes.
I understand.
And
takes a while.
it takes time. Like if we shoot something and we're able to turn it around in a week, that's pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
You know, because we're not like waking up the next day and spending 8 hours on an edit like we're going to work.
I fucking wish, dude.
Yeah.
If this could be our job,
Yeah,
then yeah.
it'd be great.
Here's an idea. What if you just uploaded the raw video? How would that go?
It wouldn't. I wouldn't do that.
No.
It would. Like usually we cut down the videos by like 30, 40%, 50% in some cases.
How many
And-
terabytes of storage do you have?
A lot.
A lot. Because we shoot in 4K between
I
3
know.
different cameras.
Yeah, 3
I know.
cameras, 4K. Yeah.
Yeah. It's a
Are
lot.
you almost filled up there?
No.
That's insane.
No.
That's
Yeah.
insane.
Yeah.
Okay. So let's get to the next film, which is.
Wait, we
No.
never rank.
We didn't rank it.
Oh, damn it. I keep forgetting.
Get the
Thank
list
Come on,
up.
Kyle. What the
Thanks,
fuck,
guys.
man?
Yeah, we got to breeze through these next the forgettable ones.
Well, there's one that's definitely not forgettable.
Yeah.
Mm, 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 mm.
What's the next one?
The next one, in my opinion, is the most forgettable, but I
Wait,
still like it a lot.
Is it Rogue Nation?
Yes.
Sure.
This is where Bobby's just like,
Yeah, this is where I'm just like, can we do something different?
Okay. I'm just setting it up so it looks pretty and nice.
Rogue Nation. The Syndicate.
The Syndicate.
Some James Bond shit.
This is the, Macquarie just teabagging you right now
MI's
with his
Spectre.
Macquarie-ness.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is number 4 on the list. Where do we rank Mission Impossible Ghost Protocol?
I would put it one above 3.
Mm-hmm. Bobby?
I agree with that.
So do I.
I agree with
Okay.
that. 3's got a stronger villain. Like 4's got that great Dubai scene, which is great, but it's like, who's the villain?
Michael Soderquist,
That-
whatever the
that
fuck his
guy,
name
yeah.
is.
You know what? That Burj Khalifa scene, man, it's so good.
No, it's
standout.
It's a
It's so
standout. It's
good.
fantastic.
It's so good. Like, I gotta put it at 9. I gotta put it at 9 for that sequence. I gotta.
Wow. Okay.
Look, I know the script and the story isn't as strong as what
I
we're gonna
mean-
get to. But
I mean, that's fair.
It depends.
that
I mean,
Burj
do you
Khalifa
watch?
scene is so worthwhile because of that. Look, and the script isn't weak. It isn't bad, and it's actually amazing what they were able to pull off, given the fact that they just, hey, Christopher McQuarrie, hey, McHugh, can you come in the middle of a shooting and rewrite this fucking thing?
Yeah.
And they did, and they actually managed to make a film that's comprehensible,
All right, that's fair.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah.
So I want to put it at 9, especially just given that sequence. It's fantastic.
All right.
Damn. All right. So, what's next? Where are you?
Rogue.
Oh, there it is. Rogue Nation,
Rogue
number 5.
Nation.
Yep. I'm gonna crack another carbonated water here.
The Syndicate. This is the one where Jeremy Renner shows up in like an office setting for 5 minutes and then he's gone.
But it's also
Wait,
the
what?
introduction. Yeah, the Jeremy Renner is just like
he's in one. Like,
he's
well,
like in
he-
an office setting.
yeah, because they were gonna build him up, and then they were like, "Oh, wait a minute, Tom Cruise is sticking around." But then they were like, "Well, why wouldn't he be in this?" So they kind of just like put him in an office, and he doesn't do anything cool.
Wait, guys, what? They're never in an office in this one.
No, Jeremy Renner is.
No, he's not.
He's like back at HQ.
Oh, I'm still. My mind's still. My apologies.
You're still on
I'm
Burj
still on
Khalifa.
4.
Yeah,
I'm
man.
still on 4. See, that's how good the movie is.
Yeah.
No, that's how much these start to blur.
Yeah, that's you're
Yeah.
right. This is what I'm saying. This is like 3 through 5 is just
So,
the
Now,
audience-
now we're gonna be like, wait,
This is
that's
the
one
first time.
where-
This is the first time that has ever happened to me. I've been fairly good
You're
at
just affirming
separating
everything
out
I've said.
this. No. Like there are other films that, like John Wick, which
Those blur as
Ballerina.
well.
We will get to that.
Well, look, hold on.
But,
I mean,
but no. The John Wick series, it blurs.
No,
But
no,
Mission
no.
Impossible has been able.
These-
I've been able to separate them out. In which
I can
I can
separate the
separate-
John Wick films very easily.
I can separate
Damn.
the Mission. I
Yeah,
can
yeah.
separate the Mission
I can't
Impossible
do that.
movies, but I do think that for the common moviegoer, they do blur. Like I can see why
Yeah.
they do. I like them,
I
so
realize
I know.
that. I'm just saying
Yeah,
for myself because I'm a Tom Cruise Mission Impossible fan. So
yeah. Well, this one has the introduction to Ilsa Fa. What's her name?
Faust?
Ilsa Faust.
Ilsa Faust
Yeah.
and Alec Baldwin.
Alec Baldwin, who comes in as the
the new director.
new director of the IMF.
Well, no, he's like CIA, I think. Then he finds out
Oh,
about
right.
IMF.
Yeah.
And so, and then he's
then
like at odds with them.
Yes. I think by that, as the series goes on, he like kind of, I guess.
Then he
switches-
becomes in Fallout. He's their
Yes.
their superior, I think.
now I
comes
should
in
have
this
done
one?
this. I should have done this earlier, just to do a synopsis and see what IMDb says of this. This is the synopsis for Rogue Nation. Is that Ethan and team? I mean, every fucking synopsis starts off that way. They take on their most impossible mission yet. Okay, when they have to eradicate an international rogue organization as highly skilled as they are and committed to destroying the IMF. I mean,
Rogue
some
Nation.
of these movies are really convoluted.
This one was
that
sort
a
of,
one-sentence synopsis logline cannot encapsulate.
yeah. This one was pitched as like Rogue Nation being like the anti-IMF, and yeah. And I don't think that they really successfully got that across. That's what they were.
Yeah.
You know, that's kind of a cool concept, but
yeah.
I don't think that they really did it as well as they could have.
Yeah.
I do think that what's his face, the villain, what's his name? I can't even remember the guy's name.
Solomon Lane.
Yeah.
Solomon Lane.
Yeah.
He's like now we're kind of bouncing back from like lame villain territory to him. He's a little bit more memorable.
He's a little more memorable.
It's closer to Hoffman. What he's doing.
Eh,
subtle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I still
subtle
think
performance.
Hoffman's better, but
I
yeah,
agree.
like this
No, I
guy,
agree.
this guy,
He's getting closer to it as well.
Yeah.
this guy chews up the scenery way more than Hoffman did.
Yeah,
Hoffman was
yeah.
just like really fucking intimidating and
Yeah.
scary. This dude is just like, he's fine. Like he's okay.
He
But
never
we
has
now-
an outburst. He's not
Huh?
chewing scenery. When you say chewing scenery, I think that the guy's feckin' yelling all the time.
No, but he's like,
not yelling.
In the last one.
I'm the bad guy.
it just means he's leaning into like
He's Bond villain-esque, whereas it.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's what I mean.
Yeah.
Get him ready, please. Get him.
Yeah.
that's chewing up the scenery. That doesn't mean you have to be loud.
Or over the top.
In my vernacular, that's what it means to me.
All right, fair enough. But he still does that more than Philip Seymour Hoffman. That's all I'm saying. Yeah, this one's it's okay.
Probably for me the most forgettable one.
Yeah,
And I didn't think that would be the case because there are aspects that should stand out. I mean, there's some even iconic shots, like when Ilsa Faust, Rebecca Ferguson, brings her leg up for the that's on the is that on the post? It's not on the poster, but there's another version of the poster where she does do that. Her leg is up and she's
got the
putting
sniper
herself in
rifle.
the sniper position
Yeah,
in the opera sequence.
which is a good scene. That
And it's
sequence
sexy.
is great.
Like that's a sexy move, and you know this when the movies lean into the sexiness of the female characters. I mean, it makes it stand out, and it's a great thing. I mean, we used to get that in James Bond, and you don't really have that in the modern times now. So with this, and you have that, sequence in the opera house is a standout because you have so much going on, different, sections of the opera house, different characters are in, and so you have things going on where Benji has to fight this tall, square-jawed German or Austrian. I think it's in Austria. Yeah, it's in Austria. And Ethan's fighting a taller dude, which is really great that they acknowledge and embrace the shortness of Tom Cruise in this movie, wherein he fights that guy on the rafters behind the theater of the opera. And that's fantastic that they do that. That's terrific. That they don't, because you hear these stories of Tom Cruise using apple boxes for his other co-stars, but because he's apparently been self-conscious about that. But now, middle age, thankfully, he's kind of gotten past that. And so he was able to embrace that shortness and has a great fight sequence. There's that move where he jumps up into the air and kicks the guy off the rafters. It's as a whole, it doesn't stand out as much, but they're just little intricate moments that they stand out. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's
But-
not as a whole, like say the Burj Khalifa sequence. It's just, you need to sit down and watch this all the way through, beginning to end.
I
But
think
with
that
the opera sequence is not it's not the same kind of.
no, but it's
caliber.
it's like a well constructed scene though. Like it's a good scene, but like even though that's a good scene and that moment that you talked about, it's a cool moment. There's just really not that much about this movie that stands out that makes it like, I don't know, awesome. And then the ending, like after the motorcycle sequence, it's kind of anticlimactic, it's not a terrible movie by
No,
by
but it's
any
more
means.
of a. I would say that it's more of a thriller than it is an action movie, which is
It
pretty
is, and-
surprising. I didn't
yeah.
realize that when it came out, and for years, in fact. But this year, I revisited it, and I realized, wow. Aside from and it is a standout when he hangs on.
The side of the plane.
On the side of the plane. I was gonna say hang on the hanger.
Yeah, but again,
plane. It
it's like
sounded weird if I said
they
that.
focus all the marketing on like, look at this, he's hanging on the side of a plane,
right,
and then
that's
that ends
right.
up becoming like the one thing you remember about this film. If
Right,
you
and the
see them
problem
like,
with that sequence
Yeah.
is that it's not a part of the plot, really.
Yeah, it's just like the
right,
little
it's
beast
just
story in the
something he
beginning.
does, and it's
Yeah.
like that's the first thing you think of when you think of this movie. If you're thinking about them based on how they promoted them, like
Yeah, I mean,
here's
Yeah,
the big
it's a
stunt he's
sizzle
doing in this
opening.
movie. Here's the big stunt
if
he's
you
doing in
even
this movie.
remember this movie, that's the first thing.
Right,
you
that's
think
the
of.
first thing you think of is him. And
Yes.
it's like, yeah, that was pretty cool. But then if you think back, like, oh yeah, there were way cooler scenes, like the opera scene. Like that's just a cooler sequence. Like the plane thing is ballsy, but it's like, okay.
Well, yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, since this is Macquarie's first official outing in this series,
As
probably
director.
talk about him a little bit.
Yeah.
All right.
I think that Macquarie's really gifted when it comes to the screenwriting department.
Mhm.
Usual Suspects, great screenplay.
Classic.
Awesome movie. That's
Oscar
him.
winner.
Yeah, and that's a fantastic screenplay. But he's I think he's one of those guys that can come in and fix things, and he's a really good fixer.
Script doctor.
Yeah, and he's talented. In terms of directing, it feels like you're just watching, like a bunch of his inspirations when you're watching his movies. It doesn't really have his fingerprints on it in terms of like visual style, visual language.
It
doesn't
feels
really-
like there are other directors that could have done this, and you could interchange them.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah.
Whereas, I mean, like, as bad as 2 is,
No, that's a
fucking
John Woo
movie,
film.
you know?
Yeah.
At 3, definitely a J.J. Abrams movie.
right.
You know?
Yeah.
This doesn't really have that. And I think that's also why they start to feel like they're blurring at this point, because there's just nothing stand out.
It's lacking that visual personality
Yeah.
that made the earlier film stand out.
And
So.
I do. This is like early on between Tom Cruise and Macquarie collaborations, because while this was going on, he also made Jack Reacher. They made that together. And that movie kind of suffers from the same thing this movie suffers from. But you know, and as much as like they're sort of a success right now, I guess, like I do wish that they would kind of move on from each other, you know. But that fatigue has definitely not set in yet. Now that we're talking about these movies, because this is like their first one. But yeah, I just think that all the films leading up to this one has like things in the visual department that really stand out. This one doesn't. This is just kind of like a bland. I mean, it's not horrible. Like the motorcycle sequence is really well done, but
The problem
do you
with
watch
the
that and go,
motorcycle
man, that's like a
sequence,
Macquarie
dude,
sequence,
is that
you know?
it
It's a
looks
Macquarie
like
sequence,
it's
yeah.
CGI.
Yeah.
Did you catch
yeah.
that? It looks like it's CGI when he gets onto the highway. I might be incorrect, but it's just the way that its execution is and what we see in its final form. It kind of looks like a video game. At one point, you get a first person point of view when he's driving through traffic. But here's past a semi, past an SUV, blah blah blah, and it's just everything looks artificial and too clean almost.
Yeah,
It
no,
doesn't look real.
that's fair. I think that's fair. Like in the same issue with probably the most tense scene out of the movie, which is the underwater sequence. Like
That's
on
another.
the page,
It's a symptom of another one, dude.
Yes.
They shot it on a green screen. This is why I have a problem with this movie, because
yeah,
I don't think it's mostly. A lot of this is actually artificial. It's
on the
not practical.
page. And when I still like that scene, that underwater scene. I still
Sure,
like it.
sure.
It's tense, but it's still, yeah, I agree with you. It doesn't, since, you know, oh, Tom Cruise hanging off the planes, hanging off the Burj Khalifa, doing this and doing that, and then you go to these like CGI sequences. I don't know.
Look, the hangar sequence doesn't stand out as much, or isn't. It stands out, but it's not as strong enough for us to say, "Oh, this movie's fantastic." Like the Burj Khalifa sequence, not only is incorporated and important to the plot, it is also a lengthy action sequence that is amazing to watch.
Yeah, this is just one shot. It's literally one shot.
Yeah, it's a sizzle reel for the opening of the movie. Wait until we get to the rest of the movie, and then you see it, and it's just, oh, you peaked.
Oh yeah, and it's like, look, Tom Cruise still had balls doing it. Not trying to diminish that, but like,
the problem is that it doesn't incorporate itself as a primary ingredient in the story. And at one point, I don't know how they would have done this, but they talked about how it was going to be in the middle of the movie and yada yada. Maybe they probably did have some story changes and script changes.
I guarantee you they did.
Yeah, as McHugh likes to do.
So he works in real time. Let's write this shit today.
In the chaos.
Well, I think that's more how Tom Cruise works, and he just likes the way McHugh can like sort of go with that improvising, you know. I think that's why they work well together. Tom Cruise has always worked like that, you know. Going back to Days of Thunder, that movie was written as they were making it, literally every day. Like every night, Robert Towne would write the pages for the next day. They had no fucking idea what they were doing. Yeah. Edge of Tomorrow was made that way too, and that is a fucking miracle.
Right. Considering like the going back and forth, like every time he dies and comes back, and you have to kind of repeat that shit.
Continuity is insane. There has to be like a couple people on that production that just went insane.
Well, I think that Doug Liman is kind of a hack, but on that movie he had.
You're saying that because of the recent remake he did.
No, I'm saying that because of Jumper. I'm saying that because of Mr. and Mrs. Smith. I'm saying, like, he's made a lot of shit movies, and like
Mr. and Mrs. Smith holds up.
That movie sucks. That has like the worst ending. Like, no, that movie's not good. The fight between the two of them is good.
It's no Roadhouse.
Oh God, fuck yeah! I didn't even realize that's what you were talking about.
That's what I was referring to.
Yeah, fuck that.
Yeah.
No,
Are you saying the Mr. and Mrs. Smith fight in the kitchen?
No, that's good. That's good. That's the best part of the movie.
That's the love scene.
That's a good scene. That's like the movie right there. But everything else is sloppy.
They're shooting at each other. It's a love scene.
It's sloppy.
I prefer Doug Liman, you know,
Swingers,
the earlier days,
and Swingers and Go.
Go's fantastic.
Doug Liman.
Indie Doug Liman's where it's at.
Yeah. Okay. But with Rogue Nation, back to Rogue Nation.
Oh yeah, I
Sure.
forgot about that movie. I just,
We're
the most
talking-
forgettable one.
Yeah.
Yeah, so the movie ends like what's interesting and it's not as memorable, but every other film ends on a high note with some kind of action sequence. This film stands out in that no, no, there's just a kind of a foot chase, and then they trap the bad guy in like a parking garage or warehouse in a human-sized glass case. So
That's why I say it feels kind of anticlimactic for that exact reason. The motorcycle scene happens. That's like the last big set piece of the movie, and then
yes.
the end. Like we're so conditioned at this point that the end of these movies, even the first one, that's where all the action comes in.
Mm-hmm.
You expect like the last action set piece, and it doesn't come in. Now, like I'm actually for that though. Like I don't think that every movie has to follow through that same formula. I'm okay with that. And I actually like how different this one is. But there's no denying that it also just kind of makes it the most forgettable one.
Well, here's the issue, or rather, here's a way they could have made that work, in my view, is that you have a great action sequence. Say if they had utilized the hangar sequence, right? Scene where he's hanging on the plane, everyone knows. If they had moved that up to incorporate that into the story, closer to the ending, in close proximity to the smaller climax with the foot chase, and then they trap the bad guy, Solomon Lane, then it makes sense because you have, we as the audience were saying, well, we just got our fill with the big action sequence, and it's okay that you concluded with, all right, that makes sense. Okay, yeah. But they don't do that. I mean, how long was it until, the previous, was it the motorcycle chase?
Yeah.
That's like the last, that's where it stops.
Yeah.
And then you have the sequence where he goes and pretends to be the prime minister. You have the mask switcheroo, fake out. And that's good. That works. But from then on is just Benji gets kidnapped, hold him hostage. Oh, there's a bomb. And dear God, McQuarrie loves his bombs.
He does.
The ticking
He
time
loves
bomb.
his bombs, man. He really took, when he heard that story or that advice from Hitchcock about suspense and bombs under the table,
He took it to heart.
My God, he like tattooed that on his brain.
Yeah, really blew his wad in Final Reckoning with that.
Holy shit.
No, I think this movie's good. I do like it a lot, but it just ends up being one of the most forgettable ones, if not the most forgettable one.
And what's weird, dude, is that I didn't, now that we're talking about it, it doesn't hold up as much. I thought it was just as solid or in the same line as, the next couple. But as I look back on it, it's just, it's a little disjointed. There are great aspects about it, but it's kind of awkward. I don't know. It doesn't hold up as much. And the, you mentioned before about Jeremy Renner being in the office. You're correct. Yeah, he's at the first start of the movie. He's in an office. Okay, all right. He's on comms. Great. He's the tech guy now.
He's on comms.
Yeah,
that's it. They call him for a little info, and he's like, "I got this, and I'll see you later." And that's it. Sounds like we should move on.
Let's rank it.
Now this is where the series comes out of the dip.
All right. I put the wrong poster up there.
Okay, what do we got? I would put this one next to 3.
I'm putting this one just above MI2 there.
Really?
Yeah.
Damn.
Dude,
Bobby's like, fuck this movie.
No. It's better
Just
than
above?
MI2. But it's just one of the most forgettable in the series for me.
That's fair.
Yeah. I mean, I'm putting it at the 5 there, mark there above MI2.
I put it at 6.
All right. I guess.
Yeah, 6. 6 is good.
6
Yeah.
is good.
6 is good.
Matt, you say 6?
I think that's good.
Okay.
That's fair.
Bobby, you just like
Yeah, sorry.
you're not giving love to this series, man.
No.
What are you waiting for?
I told you 3 through 5 is just. You can say what you want about 1 and 2, the best and the worst.
Audience,
But,
so far that's the corrected chart after I messed up. And I think the reason is because the poster that I had on the stream is it's similar to the other one, or I visually got confused. Anyway, moving on. So next one, ooh.
Mm-hmm.
Well, hold on a second.
Okay.
I do want to address there are some comments. I don't want to. There's this guy named Yash whatever.
Srivastava.
I do want to. He's written a lot of things, but there are a couple of things that I do want to address that he says. One thing he said, where was it? Nah, bruh, Fallout is super stylistic. Yeah, that's true. But my point is that the style that he has for Fallout is not the same style he had for Rogue Nation, nor is it the same style that he has for Dead Reckoning. He switches it up, and that's okay if you do that, but he doesn't have that thumbprint where it's like, this is a Christopher McQuarrie movie. That's exactly what I mean. Like, there's no consistency. All of the movies look different. Whereas if John Woo had like a run where he did all 3 of them, they would have that John Woo look, you know?
I'm trying to find Yash's. He has so many comments in there. Yeah.
Yeah.
Appreciate you, Yash.
He said the worst
really
one
involved.
is Final Reckoning or Mission Impossible 1. Well, clearly
Strongly disagree with that.
I mean, you could say what you want about Final Reckoning. There's going to be some mixed takes on that, but MI1 is you got to give props to the OG.
Absolutely.
It is.
I will give him that. Final Reckoning is, and we'll get there when
we'll get there. We'll get there.
Yeah.
But right now we're moving to a series high for most people.
Well, I want to acknowledge him as Rogue Nation is.
Oh yeah.
He says is fire. The opera sequence and the bike chase, freaking dope. I agree with half of that. I think the bike chase is kind of awkward, where it starts off with looking a bit CGI, and then it gets better and ends with him falling off his bike and wiping out to avoid hitting Elsa.
Is Rogue Nation more fire than Ghost Protocol?
No.
I disagree. I don't know. If everything's fire, then nothing's fire, which encapsulates my thoughts about 3 through 5.
Yeah.
It's all about what's the stunt? What's the stunt? Until we get to the next film, which is like, yeah, you got multiple stunts, but also it's a really cool movie.
All right, I think this Yash dude is trolling. Mission Impossible 2 was the most.
Hold on. So, I want to acknowledge Practical, and appreciate you being here, man.
He's fucking around. There's no way.
We'll get to his fucking around. Hold on, I want to acknowledge other people.
Oh, he responded.
Jackson
to
kills. Kyle's still going. Let's keep this train running. Well, we will, and Yash is going to help out with that. Oh, he agrees. Yeah, Yash is cooking, so let's see what he's got. All right, what did you have in mind, Bobby?
Yash, yeah. To your point about 6 through the end, they're all the same director. The first 3 look very different and feel different because they're all different directors. So, they obviously bring their own style to it. But the last 4 films is the same guy, so you'd think they would all look and feel the same, but they don't.
Yeah.
So he does not have a distinct style.
No, that's my point.
Now you could say like Fallout's a more stylistic film than Rogue Nation. True, but you cannot say like, oh, that's a McQuarrie film. That's a McQuarrie.
You can't. And he's right. Fallout's the best looking one out of all.
Yes.
Out of his run.
Yes, he's right about that.
Yes, that's true. But again, it just comes down to that director thumbprint. He doesn't have that.
Yash says, ironically, the fact that they all look different keeps in line with the first 3 movies having different looks. And
No,
feelings.
That's what we
I'm
just
not,
responded
I'm
to.
not. Yeah.
Okay,
I'm
so
not,
that's what you were. Okay, all right.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm
That's
not
why I was
arguing with
trying to
that.
pinpoint which one you were responding to. Okay.
Yeah.
Hey, Yash, you're in the same camp as Matt because he agrees about the IMAX for Ghost Protocol.
Mm.
And with Dark Knight Rises, he loves talking about how Dark Knight Rises was in there.
Talk about letdowns.
Talk about a piece of shit.
Okay, now let's get to a movie that is very well regarded.
Reignited, in my opinion. The
Fallout.
series. Mm.
Let's look at the
Got
the
that short
synopsis,
hair.
the tagline.
Looks good again.
Looking good again.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. All right, so the tagline for Fallout that IMDb declares: a group of terrorists plans to detonate 3 plutonium cores for a simultaneously nuclear attack on different cities. Ethan Hunt, along with his IMF team, set out to stop the carnage.
But when you read it like that, it sounds terrible.
Yeah. That's a shitty tagline.
Well, it sounds
That's not even a
synopsis.
tagline. That's a
Synopsis.
synopsis.
movie. Sorry, not tagline.
Plot synopsis.
Yeah.
No, there's another word. Why the hell? Jeez. There's another word for it where it's just a one sentence. Logline, not tagline. Logline.
Right,
there we
right,
go.
yeah. You probably said that. I just misheard you.
I'll have to look back. Anyway, so the synopsis makes it sound like a run-of-the-mill movie, and it's just not. It really isn't. A lot of people consider this
awesome.
movie to be the best of the series.
Which, and I can't really argue with that because it's up there. This movie's fucking solid. There's so many things that are working for it. Henry Cavill, his turn as the villain is,
which is a rare
probably
turn.
probably one of the best in the series.
Yes,
like, if not the best.
Yeah, it's just cool because they're kind of like teamed up sort of in the beginning.
Yeah, they're
but
working together.
But they don't like each other.
Yeah,
and then he's the bad guy, and it's not like it comes out of like nowhere or anything, but
it just works. Really
it just
well.
works. Yeah. It's got the Halo jump or whatever.
The Halo jump
that
scene
they practice
is awesome.
like hundreds of times to do.
Yeah,
it's insane.
That's fucking awesome. Yeah, there's this movie, the bathroom scene with the
just that fight, where he reloads his arms.
Yeah, that it's so good. I mean,
which they didn't plan. They didn't plan for that shot for Henry Cavill to do the.
He just brought the magic.
But this is what happens. This is the magic that can happen when you assemble a team of people that just coalesce into making something fantastic, great, etc. And it happened here.
I do like the way the movie opens and they do that switcheroo with the dude in the hospital and like that's really good Mission Impossible right there.
Yes.
Yeah.
Great opening. Yeah.
Yeah.
Lead into the credit sequence. Yeah.
And this is when Lauren Balfe starts doing the music.
Dear God. How, dude, are you like me where you have this fucking soundtrack on repeat? Because I have it when I go to the gym every time. It's in the mix of, I have a gym soundtracks playlist, and there are many tracks from this movie that I play when I'm lifting weights.
Yeah, I used to have a run mix, and I used to run to this. But the track though where they're planning on getting Solomon Kane. Is that his name? Solomon Kane.
Solomon
Lane. Solomon
exactly.
Lane.
Part of the forgettable.
Yes. But with that sequence where they're planning on getting him and that like build, the music is just it's pretty phenomenal. But like I think the music's pretty forgettable from 3 till this movie, and then this is the best score This and 2, I think, are the best scores. Like, I love the music so much in this movie.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm partial to Danny Elfman. I'm gonna put
No,
that
That's
over,
fair. No, that's
no,
not. That's
over-
not. That's not a hot take, dude. It's.
I love that score. I love
Yeah.
Danny Elfman's score, but I
I
still.
think we just named. Here's the thing: if we were to rank the scores, we just named them. 2,
Yeah.
1, and what is it? 6? Yeah.
6.
Yeah, by
Yeah.
far. There's no contest. Those 3 are the best for sure. Yeah, like, I don't know. Shit, this movie's just it's got the helicopter chase scene at the end, which is
Dear
fucking tastic.
God.
Yeah.
And you know what's crazy about this movie, guys? Audience, if you do not know this, okay. So to preface this, Christopher McQuarrie is kind of like Nolan, pretentious as fuck. He says that he doesn't like to release deleted scenes to the public because he doesn't want to. Well, Nolan says he doesn't want to destroy the magic. Blah blah blah. McQuarrie is like, well, whatever the final cut is, that's the one that's meant to be seen. I don't want to muddle it with, a deleted scene. But what they do is they'll release a montage without audio of deleted scenes. So there are deleted scenes that we've seen. And what's crazy about this is that in the movie, there are sequences that are like there would be a main set piece in another movie that they just fucking deleted. When they fall from the Halo jump and go to the Paris club, when they get inside and they're in the rafters near the ceiling, they're swinging from these ropes and wires to get down into the club and all the dancing and shit. That was a sequence on its own and they deleted it.
That's right. Yeah.
It's crazy that they had that and it's just gone. No big deal. It's timing. I mean,
so
hey,
I feel
they were
like
calling good shots back then when it comes to being aware of the timing, like for this film, and that's what. And maybe if it was in the movie, it would have made it feel more stuffed and not as maybe it wouldn't have
messed
worked
with the pacing
but
a
it's
little.
still crazy to think that sequence, when you look at it, I was looking at it and it's just wow, that is a sequence on its own that would be, in a John Wick movie, that would be you have to see this sequence, but it's just a deleted scene in this one. It's crazy.
Yeah, I feel like some of the shots for that were in one of the trailers, and I could be wrong. But my whole thing, when a director feels like that, whatever's in the final final release, that's the movie. Okay, and there's an argument that can be made, but if you're showing shots in the trailer that didn't make the movie, then fuck that. Like,
no, but his argument would be
you're okay to show those scenes. Just have like a deleted scenes section on the Blu-ray or whatever. That's fine.
Traditionally speaking, that's how it would be done. But what I would say is that McQuarrie would tell you or tell us is that I didn't make those decisions. It was the marketing department.
Of course. Yeah. Okay, fine. But the marketing department saw a cut of the film at one point that had those scenes in it. So whatever, just show the fucking scenes. That's all I'm saying.
In their entirety with sound. Yes, I agree. They should. I agree.
Yeah, but
I do want to kind of go full circle with this because this is the last we're going to talk about her. This is the movie that brings back Julia.
Mm-hmm.
And I think, look, I agree in terms of, well, there's really not much of a connection anymore with Ethan to Julia because they don't say it, but he's probably divorced at this point. They annulled their marriage, yada yada, because of his job.
She's married to Wes Bentley.
Wes Bentley. Oh my God. She's married to
Ricky Fitz.
She's married to the guy who appreciates plastic
trash
bags
yeah,
blowing in the wind. Yeah.
Ricky Fitz.
Beautiful.
Crying like a bitch.
So
I still love that movie.
even with Kevin Spacey.
Yeah.
It's good. It is a good movie.
It's a good movie.
Yeah.
I haven't seen it in a while, but yeah. I recall it being good, but yeah. There are other Kevin Spacey movies that are, I think, hold up better than because
like K-Pax.
Dude, why are you laughing at that? I actually really like that. Why? Hold on a second.
How about Pay It Forward?
Audience, I
Or
want to
maybe
go on
Big
this
Kahuna.
tangent for just a little second. It's like, hold on. Why do you not like K-Pax? I actually think that is a...
That movie's pretty retarded,
man. I'm just naming Kevin Spacey films that didn't really resonate with the general public.
Yeah, that, like you said, Pay It Forward.
Yeah, Pay It Forward.
That was during that time where they were trying. He was a thing because he's a good actor.
Yeah.
And they were just like, oh, we'll put him in this. We'll put him in that.
Yeah.
Well,
Sorry,
I still
Kyle.
think K-Pax actually has some worth to it, and I think it
That's for a different discussion. We'll get into. We'll do a review of K-Pax.
Hey, if I want to do a review of K-Pax, it'll happen.
You should.
Who's hosting this right now? All right, so with Fallout, finishing Fallout off. I mean, there are a whole lot of other aspects that we can get into about it. I mean, you mentioned the helicopter sequence. I mean, they fucking do that for real.
Yeah.
And it's insane. Again, another preparation that exhibits Tom's commitment for his work, but also his personal life, because he's an actual pilot and he's preparing to do all this stuff. Like, it's an argument that I say, and I've said in the video for Final Reckoning, we're not going to see another leading man that is able to do all this stuff. We're not.
I can't think of any.
There's no one else. You think fucking Timothy Chalamet is going to be committed to doing stunts and aerial sequences and being a pilot and halo jumping?
He ingests way too much soy.
He might break a nail if he tried doing that.
No.
Oh man,
absolutely not.
It has taken decades for us to have an actor that is committed as much as he is. It's taken multiple decades, 30 years or so, of the build-up since Top Gun, essentially, for him to be able to achieve all the things that he's doing in these movies, especially in Fallout.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's crazy. I'm just like, right now, just rate this thing, actually, because I know where it goes.
Yeah.
This is top
tier. We all know where it goes.
It's
we
top
all know
tier.
This is
me.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm still one peg below MI1, but it's right up there. It's probably just as good.
Yeah. I rewatched this one the most, probably, and one, because I like one's great, but
just for different reasons.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Here's a interesting thought. How would it be of an experience to watch the first one and then, for someone who hasn't seen them,
jarring
this franchise?
Oh, yeah.
If you go from 1 and jump to 6, how would that?
I mean,
look like?
you could. Everything between is.
I mean, but it kind of is like that between 1 and 2. Like
it's a huge jarring jump between 1 and 2. So I'd say more so.
2, like, when I almost felt like they were kind of ignoring 1 based on how different they were. You know what I mean? Like, it just seemed like they were just going in such a different direction. And like
John Woo never watched the first one.
After that, they never really acknowledged the previous films until the Macquarie run, and then they started doing that. But it just felt like, they were all just so
and that's
different
like
from each other.
That's kind of like a double-edged sword, referencing back to previous films. Like, that was one of the things that I actually didn't like about the Daniel Craig run of Bond films, is that up until that point, the films were standalone.
Yeah.
So it doesn't tie you to anything that came before as like, oh, well, this is what was set up before. So now you have to move forward incorporating this that was already done. You can't do your own thing.
That's kind of how I felt about the Mission Impossible. They kind of were going that route.
Yeah. So you really get a clean slate. It's like you can tell the story you want to tell. But once Macquarie came in and it's like, well, we're carrying over Solomon. It's like, okay.
Yeah.
I mean, he becomes an afterthought in Fallout. considering like what Henry Cavill becomes.
Well,
Like,
he's an afterthought. Then he does sort of become the primary villain at the end again, and then he lives still, and they forget about him. Like
Right.
he's done.
right.
No,
That's
which
what I'm
is
saying.
actually good. I think that works because, yeah, don't they kill off every single antagonist in this series?
Yes, except for him.
Solomon Lane is the only one that lived.
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah,
Even the
he
secondary
doesn't
character,
die.
Billy Crudup dies in the third one too, and he's not even the main baddie. Well, he kind of
Yeah.
is, but and it's the flip is that it was
Mhm.
Hoffman who was the second in command. But that's a good point. Yeah, but I like that they did that.
Yeah, it's fine.
It's a good change of pace. They didn't
Yeah.
kill off Lane. Yeah.
I mean, who cares? Like he just disappears, and it's like, all right.
Well, it's a possibility that if they were to come back to the series, that they could bring him
Well,
back.
that wouldn't
right?
really excite me at all. We're bringing Solomon Lane back.
Who?
Okay.
Oh yeah, that guy.
Oh, that guy from Fallout. Oh no,
Yeah.
he was in Rogue Nation too. Oh, he was. It's like that's where I'm at with that character.
That
so.
is like a Mission Impossible conversation right there.
Yeah, you don't like him. You don't like him.
That's not that I don't like him. I just don't think he's interesting enough to keep around for more than one film. You know, it's like
well-
he served his purpose in Rogue Nation. He was fine. It's like, well, why is he in Fallout? Why, like, what, you know? It's like,
Why couldn't you keep Philip Seymour Hoffman around longer instead of
well,
this
right.
guy?
If you're gonna have a compelling
Well,
villain that everybody
yeah.
loves, keep them around longer or something.
Hmm.
I don't know.
I do have a
But-
question, actually. If you can answer this, if you really honestly can answer this, about going back to this real quick, and it's about Solomon Lane. That's what you made me think of this. Is that why would he send Ilsa Faust to go and get the list? Right? Why does he need the list? And they do the operation of it's almost like a knock list essentially, isn't it? Like the operatives that are involved in
Yeah.
Yeah. Mhm.
What, he's the one who started the syndicate. Why does he need a list of the syndicate? Because he started the syndicate. Why does he need Ilsa, who then gets help from Ethan, to do the mission to get the list of the syndicate?
Is that? I don't. You know, I honestly don't remember all those details. I almost feel like he wanted the list of IMF agents.
Yeah, I thought he wanted the IMF agents, but again, it's
and
been a while.
MI6 agents.
Yes, because she was MI6.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
Dude. I don't remember. You could be like, I completely forgot.
It could
so
be a
you
plot hole.
Totally right.
Because I recently looked at the film and I was asking myself that question of, wait, because the reason that she's in danger is because she's getting the sensitive information about the syndicate, but Solomon Lane was the one who said he needed it. And it just made me question of, well, why does he need it if he's the one who's the one running it? Wouldn't he have the full complete contact list? You know what I'm saying? So it's an open-ended question. Maybe someone in the chat might say something. Yash might say something. Let's move to that, because we ranked Fallout. We moved from Fallout, and now we're gonna get to the next one. But first, let's see what the chat says.
Yash said, ironically, Mission Impossible 2 has the most easy to follow plot. That's speaking facts, Yash. I know.
Martin Campbell directed GoldenEye as well, and there's a similar, albeit less styled, car chase in GoldenEye as well that clearly influenced Mission Impossible 2.
Well, GoldenEye came out well before
It did.
MI2, so
Martin Campbell's great.
he's great. Yeah, he revived James Bond twice.
You see this comment? Philip
What?
Seymour Hoffman was knee deep in heroin.
I mean, where's the lie?
Right. That's probably what made him as good as he was.
He was doing lines off.
Okay, so we
he was
got to
standing over
respond.
Tom Cruise doing lines off his head. He probably towers over him.
Off his beautiful hair.
Yeah,
In MI3, yeah, when he had it short and it was
and
gorgeous.
it was good again.
Dear God,
And it was good
love
again.
it. Yeah. Yeah. Don't question the plots for Mission Impossible. You'll let yourself drown, says Yash. Yeah, I mean, he might be responding to the question that I have about Rogue Nation and the Syndicate.
Yeah,
I don't know. That's like one of those turn your brain off sort of comments.
No, no, no,
which
no,
is-
no, no, no. Okay, so I
you don't
had
have to
that
do that when
no,
you're
no,
watching
no, no.
part one. I'm just saying.
So I had that
Exactly.
discussion with Ben, and Ben, you might still be here, and you know we talked about this. Is that when we were talking about Final Reckoning, that's what he said, and I told him I am not going to turn my brain off for the story. I expect both. I can
Yeah.
have both. I can have
Yeah.
great action sequences and set pieces.
That's why
along with
Fallout
a
is
great
memorable,
story and
Rogue
writing.
Nation is not.
Yeah, because it manages to pull off both, even though the method was the same. The only addition that fucked up the production was the shutdowns. That really is the ingredient, and the writer strikes. Well, the writer strikes are kind of tertiary or peripheral, but really the shutdowns messed up the last two movies.
Well,
Which-
yes, it's a combination.
There was
of
a
that
few
and,
things that went wrong with,
and just the way they make them, anyways. Like
yeah.
the right as we go method
Mhm.
in
Wait, so-
combination with those.
Are we moving into Dead Reckoning Part 1?
We are moving. Let's
Yes.
Okay.
I'll give Yash because he has a lot to say. I want to give him a little bit of.
Well, he's been
little
saying
bit
a
of
lot.
time.
He can.
I know. I'm not
He
giving
can
him
wait.
air with everything. Well, it moves into this. So, bad guy wants to make money off of Chimera from the second film, a COVID type virus. Well, that moves us into the next film, which was affected by that thing
Mhm.
called C-19. Where are you at? Where's that poster?
The pandemic.
Yes,
The
here we are. Mission Impossible: Dead Reckoning, not Part 1, ladies and gentlemen.
Oh, okay.
So the synopsis, the tagline, according to IMDb, is Ethan Hunt and his IMF team, that's how every tagline starts, must track down a dangerous weapon before it falls into the wrong hands. Clear as day. I mean, I saw the film already.
Yeah, this one, I liked this one when it came out quite a bit. It was like, I think in our review, we mentioned like, yeah, it's good. It's not as good as Fallout, but it's good.
It's up there. Yeah,
Yeah, but
yeah.
like now, because we know how it ends, I feel like this kind of gets taken down a little bit.
I don't know. I still like it a lot. I think the misstep came in Part 2, not Part 1.
For sure. But
Yeah.
like, it's just annoying that when you're watching this, like, okay, me and him have talked about this a lot, but I think the most fucking annoying thing about the Final Reckoning is that they set up in this movie Tom Cruise's past with that girl that Gabriel killed, and they don't talk about that at all in the next one.
They set up a
so
ton of
here's the
shit
thing,
and
audience. Let me
ignored.
pause you for a second. So essentially, what's going to happen, and it's already happening, is
Yeah,
that
we're gonna cross talk
we're
about these two. Yeah.
Yeah, pollinating
to.
in conversation with this one, because originally it was a Part 1, and these are, these movies match are almost one story essentially. So
so there's going to be some overlap, but
overlap.
so that's fucking annoying. Like, that's so stupid. But that's what I'm saying, though, where like it kind of diminishes this one, and because that doesn't get paid off. That's a little
Right.
annoying.
Yeah.
But this one still is highly enjoyable. There's so many really good sequences. The car chase sequence with she's handcuffed to him. That's cool.
That's a fun scene.
Yeah.
So I just looked up. So I looked up the girl that we were referring to. Her name is Marie, and I listened to an interview on the Light the Fuse podcast, and someone on it was either Macquarie. It may have been Macquarie who said it. Yeah, it was. He said his original plan, and this is not well known, his original plan was to de-age not only Isai Morales, that's his name, right?
Yeah.
And Tom Cruise, but he wanted to cast, get this, Julia Roberts
I heard about
as
this.
Marie and de-age her. and make her more of a a part of his history, Ethan Hunt's history. And it just didn't clearly pan out that way. And he said it was exorbitantly expensive, and I think a lot of it had to do with the shutdowns, etc.
Well, I'm glad they didn't go that route, because that sounds stupid.
Yeah.
There's already too much shit. There's too much shit going on already, and like now you're gonna, oh, Julia Roberts is in this. What the hell? And then and then if you see her young, then that just makes you think she's still alive or something, and you're gonna see her,
bring her back later. It's like, why do that?
I don't know. Like whatever. But I would rather take that over them not explaining at all what happened in his past.
Right. They spent a lot of time in the first one. If you go back and watch that from the opening all through, like building up Isai Morales as this mysterious figure from Ethan's past. And at one point it's even mentioned like he is like who he is today because of him.
Yes.
It's like, well, why even mention that if you're not going to even talk about it or show it or do anything with it?
Yeah, well, and just so we can like, I want to preface this by saying I don't think that that's necessarily a good idea. I don't like that's essentially like prequel shit, like saying that this happened before Mission Impossible 1, where when you watch Mission Impossible 1, that's not how Ethan enjoyed the fucking IMF. Bullshit. Get out of here, you know? But I'm just saying that they still laid that out, and I still want to see where they were going with that. You know, I might not have agreed with it, but it was just this. It's like a cop out that they didn't follow through with that.
Yeah,
it's really fucking annoying.
And they even carried some of that into the second film in the trailer.
They did, yes.
Like when in the trailer for Final Reckoning, when he's under the ice and he drowns basically, and he floats up, and then you see the girl from the first part.
He has a vision of her, giving him mouth to mouth. Yeah.
Yes, she swims up and like kisses him.
So at one point they were gonna have Marie be at the start of it, and then it transitions to Grace.
Right. Yeah. So we know nothing about this Marie character.
Yeah. I didn't even know her name was Marie.
Yeah.
Sure.
We don't know like what the connection, what the past is between Gabriel and Ethan. So, and that also just makes Gabriel kind of in the next one, it gets really sidelined, and like that, the fact that they don't pay off makes him sidelined even more.
Yeah. No, they spend time in the first one building it up. Like they have this connection, they have this hatred for each other. They've known each other for a long time, and it's like, okay, well, what happened?
Yeah, what is that?
Why even make this a thing if you're not?
I have a theory.
Okay.
So you remember in the second one, Matt, you mentioned how they're igloo buddies?
They're Eskimo brothers, yeah.
Eskimo brothers.
Yeah.
Igloo buddies? He's recovering.
Hey, that's an alternative phrase that we could just add to the vernacular and the idioms. So, Eskimo buddies?
Brothers.
Yeah.
You're bound by Eskimo.
Yeah.
You're not blood brothers, you're Eskimo brothers.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's in the same camp and using igloos, etc. So,
well, you know, you're fishing from the same hole, you know?
Ice fishing from the same hole.
So yeah, so the theory is that Gabriel and Tom, like, they were involved with Maria at some point. So maybe there's a triangle happening there.
Possibly, yeah. But still, but you just said I have a theory. So now everything from now on is a theory, and that's annoying.
Yeah.
You know, I wish they would have just
used what they set up.
Yeah.
Well, because it's not even it's almost not even a setup. Yeah, you get a flashback of Gabriel killing her, and Ethan weeps over her body.
Yeah, but then they talk about it as the film goes on. Like they make reference to the fact that they're connected.
Okay, but two things.
Do they actually say her damn name?
No, I don't think so.
They don't.
Yeah. So hold on a second, though. I mean, they for sure shot all of this stuff. Like it's out there, you know. And plus, no one ever talks about this either. I listened to the commentary on Dead Reckoning Part 1, and Macquarie says, "Oh, the next one, when we pay all this stuff off, he says that multiple times in the commentary, like, oh, there's going to be more to this, and there's not. So
Yeah,
like they
some
obviously
retooling.
retooled it later on. They just
Yeah.
felt, for whatever reason,
Yeah.
oh, we don't need this, but we need these like fucking 4 other flashbacks, you know?
Right. Yeah, they sideline Gabriel hard in the last one, and he was one of the most enjoyable things about the first one.
Yeah. People disagree with us on that.
Well, I don't care. I mean, I love that actor. I think he's great, and I
yeah.
think the part was fun, and he was just a pleasure to watch. Like, he's way more memorable than half the villains in this series. So
Yeah.
Look, the problem that I have with Gabriel is that it's weighed down by the overwriting, especially he gets it in this one, in Dead Reckoning. There are scenes in the club when they're philosophizing. I mentioned this in my review for Dead Reckoning. They're philosophizing on the lethality of the AI and who it's going to see get killed. It's a fucking soothsayer now. It's able to predict the deaths of people. I find that ridiculous. I think it's a dumb idea.
Well, there's a line they had to walk with. You know, you mentioned this in our review of like pushing it into like the sci-fi a little bit. But algorithmically, like, that's what it's designed to do, is to calculate every move and try and look as far as possible into the future, and they have to outsmart it, basically. I mean, that's what made that film interesting, was that it was a different type of villain. Now, was it done completely successfully? Well, that's a different question.
So in our review, like, the biggest criticism I think that we've seen in our review is people like, oh my gosh, the entity sucked. What are you guys talking about? That wasn't a good villain. Ugh. We're not saying that like it's a great villain. All we were saying basically is that this series, this is Dead Reckoning Part 1 is movie number 7. What the fuck else are you going to do?
We don't need another freaking ticking time bomb.
So they tried something different, and that's our argument. It's just like, well, they tried something different. It wasn't entirely successful, no, but I do think that they introduced something that could have really gone off the rails and been so like sci-fi and out of what is like probable in a Mission Impossible series. And I think that they found the balance. Now, whether you think it's good or not, that's an entirely separate argument. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah. And like they do the ticking time bomb, nuclear bomb thing, like in the beginning of the film when they're at the airport. And it's like, they kind of like get it out of the way. Yeah. They're like, no, it's not going to be about this. It's going to be about like a villain now who can infiltrate this team and completely destroy their dynamic, which was interesting. It kind of harkens back to like destroying the team in the older film. Like, they have to go back to an analog way of working, which again, like, cool idea, but they didn't really play into it enough.
Yes.
You know, so like the film took some risks, and I appreciate that for a series that had been like really derivative for a long time. So
derivative of itself?
Of itself, yeah. Like, just, oh, we got a ticking time bomb again. We got another bomb over here. It's like,
well, McQuarrie really just ratcheted that up.
Oh my God.
No, he did. He did. The earlier films definitely play around more with different things, but
yes.
By the time like this film came out, we were saying like how it actually is kind of amazing that more people haven't found this to be more repetitive and derivative, like the series as a whole. Even though I kind of was feeling that way by Rogue Nation. You know, Fallout kind of, even though it ends with the ticking time bomb, again, Fallout was just done so well that I excused it. You know,
but it does do that. Though.
It does do that,
and that's kind of lame. That's the threat in the film. But like you said, it's executed so well that you just kind of let that one slide.
That one go. Dead Reckoning had the balls to be like, no, that we're not doing that again. We're trying something totally out of left field. Whether you think it works or not, you know.
Yes.
But at one point, here's the thing, dude, is that at one point McQuarrie even, I think they shot this. There was going to be a physical manifestation. I don't even know what that means. There was a shadowy figure that they were going to have when Ethan is running in Venice, you know, down the alleyways, etc., and you would see the shadowy figure that was going to represent the AI, the
Like
entity.
fucking nanotechnology or some bullshit.
That's stupid.
See, but
Maybe, I mean,
that's what I'm saying though.
but
Like they toyed with these ideas, and like if they went that route, it would have pushed it way over to sci-fi territory.
Yeah.
And it
it's
would not
already
have fit this.
there.
It is, but like I guess where people can shit on our opinions about this is, I just feel like it did strike the balance to where it didn't full go sci-fi. I think that it still feels like it can fit in the realm of possibility in this series. That's all I'm saying. Now, again, that's a separate argument from do you like it or not? You know.
And I found it quite refreshing.
Well, I thought it was
Really?
cool because I
Yeah.
liked how it fucked with Benji's voice and like
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
you thought it was going to do more things like that.
That's where it
Yeah.
should have put its focus, like really messing with the team. And there are moments,
Being
like you said,
devious
yes, that was where the
and
film really,
duplicitous. Yeah.
yes, that was the strongest parts of the film in
Yes,
terms of how
I
the
agree,
enemy was
I agree.
messing with them. Like when it's learning about Benji, forcing him to do those like riddles with the bomb and stuff like that, and then imitating Benji's voice. And then they
Fucking
kind
with
of
their minds.
yes, and then Ethan's like, "Oh, I can't even trust my team now."
Yes.
You know, they
What's
should have
reality?
really,
What's real?
they should have played into that way more.
Yes.
Yes.
I
And that's
agree.
where
Yeah.
it kind of lost it, especially in the follow up in the final reckoning. It's like they abandoned it completely.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, and then they have the whole concept, which was interesting, like you brought up, the going back to the analog world. That they could have done more interesting things with that. Like, what if, like, because there are like, you know, they do bring up Mission Impossible 1 in this one frequently. What if they had to like use some of the shit that they used in the first one now because it's analog? Like they have to what if they have to go back to that room, like you know what I mean, for whatever reason? That computer room is like the only thing that is separated from the entity. Whatever. I mean, that might be a retarded idea. I'm just saying though, like you could have. The idea of them having to, use analog technology, that lends itself to doing some cool things. But they say they're doing that, but they kind of break their own rules. And then, like Benji's driving the
self-driving
car
and it's like,
at the end of part one,
Yeah.
Dead Reckoning part one. And it's like, why isn't the entity taking over that thing? That makes no sense.
That's what we assumed was going to happen, because when he switches into the passenger seat, it's like, and he
Yeah.
looks over and he's like, and he puts his seatbelt on. It's like, okay, something's going to happen at this point, and
Yeah.
like nothing ever comes from that.
Why didn't it do it? Like it has access to everything basically.
That could
yeah, I don't
have, no, you're right. That's a good point. They could have had a beat, not necessarily an extended moment, just a beat where he has to escape from that vehicle, break the window, jump out, and he could still communicate with Ethan about the jump that he has to do up high in the mountain. But that would have added an interesting aspect to that sequence.
The problem if they went that route though, you would have just been like, well, he's a dumbass for even getting into that car in the first place. What he should have done is like he had to use like an old muscle car or something like that. That was there's no computers in it whatsoever. Like they should have just committed to the whole analog aspect, but they didn't. They needed Benji to drive a car so he can get there. They needed Benji to sit in the passenger seat
and work a computer so he can do both at the same time.
Yeah, but here's the thing. Here's the function in which Luther wasn't there for, to drive the fucking car.
There you go.
Yeah, because he just leaves at the end of the movie. This is where I leave
stupid,
you.
Like
why?
Reasoning for he says, I got work to do.
So can you do it tomorrow? We're in the middle of a fucking important mission here.
Like whatever this thing is that he's got to do, it's fuck, that sounds important.
Yeah, and it takes him 2 months to do it.
By the time part two comes along, you're like, that's it? That's what he had.
A USB drive.
Yeah, he builds a USB drive, takes him 2 months, and then he holds on to it instead of just giving it right to
oh my god,
Ethan.
Okay, we're gonna move into Final Reckoning. I just want to say a couple nice things about Dead Reckoning. Is that okay? So we
Haley
have
Atwell and her
Haley
Atwell.
I praise, and I still do praise. She is a standout in this movie.
Absolutely.
I said in my review that she could have been nominated for an Oscar for this. Not because look, just hold on a second, Bobby, because the whole the taken aback, sighing, inward thing. I know when you have an issue with something. Just listen for a second. just look past the, oh my God, the English Patient. Oh my God, Sophie's Choice performances. It's just, we don't need to celebrate only dramatic, tragic performances that actresses give.
I agree.
There is room for actresses that are so fucking charming, that are standouts, that even supersede the lead of a movie, which I think she does to some in some sequences. She is so damn charming in this movie. Like, oh my God. Like,
No,
that's
I
that's
do
a
think
reason to
she's
nominate
great.
somebody, because that's a best actress right there.
I agree with everything
oh my
you're
God, she's the
saying.
best actress in this movie.
I agree with everything you're saying. I just don't think she's she's
I
at that
don't.
level.
I don't think maybe a nomination, but I don't think that award should have gone to her for that particular role.
And
I
who
mean,
won for that year?
I don't fucking, yeah, who
who-
knows?
Hey, just saying.
Anybody
I
know
want to make
anymore?
that
Who,
point.
who knows?
And
2023.
yet this is a role that I keep going back to, of saying, oh, she should have been nominated. Yet we don't remember who won that year.
Yeah, because it was probably for a film that nobody saw.
Of
Probably
course.
Emma Stone for the fucking, when she played a baby in a woman's body.
Oh, right.
Listen, nobody's taken away how good she was. I mean,
She was
Yeah,
a
and
good
to add
addition to the series.
yeah,
Well, and to add to that, the dynamic that they have when they have the
It was
Rome
good.
Fiat chase,
oh, it was really good.
like, standout. That is a practical car chase sequence in a vehicle that is a piece of shit vehicle, and it's a beta vehicle. It's not a masculine car. But that's the point. Like,
Well,
they're
I also-
embracing that.
When she's
I-
trying to drive it, and Paris is watching them from the
Yeah,
Hummer,
yeah.
just like, what is this stupid bitch doing?
Well,
She's driving in circles.
I appreciated the fact that she sucked at driving, and the movie
Right.
didn't make her like a badass driver.
Yes.
In
Yeah.
fact, in the beginning, Tom Cruise is like, whoa, 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 and she crashes.
Yeah,
Like right at the get go. That was great.
yeah, she's a good pickpocket. She's a good thief. That's her skill.
Yes, but
Exactly.
she sucks at other things.
Yeah,
But you
Right.
know, like they
Yeah.
didn't do the whole boss.
Those are the
bullshit.
strengths of what Macquarie is able to do, is that he was
Yeah.
able to realize that during this woke period, I mean, we're still coming out of it, but I mean, the heat of it is, he wrote a character that had a delineation of, oh, she's good at this, but she doesn't know about this other stuff,
Mhm.
and she's
Yeah.
going to fail at it. He is going against the grain when he did that, and so props need to be given to him about that.
Yeah, but then
Fantastic.
But then Final Reckoning comes out.
Yeah.
All right. Okay.
And then all of a sudden
All
she's
right,
like,
let's rate
Well,
Dead
and then-
Reckoning, and we'll move
all right,
on to
okay,
Final
okay.
Reckoning. Let's do it. All right.
mm-hmm.
Okay. So I'm picking the right poster this time. Where do we put this? I mean, I'll say, first off, it's somewhere, it's 7 or 8.
I'm putting it at an 8.
I think I would put it right above Mission Impossible 3. What number is that?
8. It
Yeah,
would be
8.
8. So
I
you
would say
guys,
8.
you just beat me. You both said 8.
Yeah.
Mhm.
What were you gonna
Interesting.
put it?
I was gonna say 7 or maybe 7.5, even though
Oh,
we
okay.
don't have half numbers.
I
here,
mean,
but
so not that big of a.
yeah, interesting.
Yeah.
This is the first time you guys
What
Yeah,
agree?
United.
we overrided you. Oh.
united against me. I don't know. Well, I appreciate it. Okay, so let's move to our final film. Now,
Oh, fuck this movie.
Well-
just for the sake of time, I'll get to the chat later on, just for the sake of time, and we'll move to Final Reckoning. I mean, I got 2 options for a poster. We got this one that looks like it looks like a jailhouse headshot.
Just do that one, dude. That's
Yeah.
the bullshit image for this
Yeah.
fucking
This is the
movie.
cool one.
That poster sucks.
Yeah.
It's
This
like
one?
I don't like it. It's like all the
Whoa.
that one. No, I'm looking at the plain one now. That one's cool.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I
Yeah,
pulled
I
that
know, I
up.
was looking
Maybe
at the
we had a
face.
delay. So
Well, yeah, there's
Yeah,
a delay.
the
I was-
face-
all right.
the
So
face
yeah,
one.
to clarify, this plain poster emphasizing that it's almost a 3D aspect where it's
Going past
popping
the
out
border,
from a
yeah.
white border, right? Yeah, so it gives an impression of 3D.
Is there
But
a
back
credit
to this-
bill on that at the bottom for that poster?
No,
There's no credits.
no credit, no.
So then that's not really like the official poster. Then, like the official poster,
it
I think
a
is
poster though.
yeah, I know.
There's
Yeah,
no
but it's not
credit
the
on the other
official-
one. Like we'll go back to it. So this one.
Yeah, dude, like every single poster for this series is
This
like
is shit.
a variation of a profile shot of him.
Yeah.
This
And this is the first
shit.
one where it's head on, and it is terrible.
This
It
is
sucks.
fucking. It's terrible. It's
Yeah.
emphasizing his shitty hair. Okay, that
Too long,
Oh,
once
dear
again.
God, like the many other films prior that we've talked about, even when he had long hair, he actually had a hairstylist on set that made sure that it looked good.
This
But
is
for
his
some
worst
reason,
look.
in
Yeah.
Final Reckoning, he made sure that a homeless person was his hairstylist.
He
and
looked like he
didn't do
combed it
fucking
over
anything.
himself quickly right before they rolled.
Yeah.
Holy. There are
It's
some
probably the-
shots. There's some paparazzi shots of like him getting out of his helicopter and he's moseying
Yeah.
around, and it's even crazier than this. It's
Yeah.
like it's
I think this is the worst he's ever
Horrible.
looked in a movie. Unfortunately.
But well, when you add to it like his age, and I really do think I have a huge theory here, is that the reason why he looks older than he did even in the last one in Dead Reckoning. I mean, you see it a little bit, but he looks like he aged 5-7 years from Dead Reckoning to Final Reckoning. It's crazy. And I think a lot of it had to do with the stress of the shutdowns. Like this is an example of what stress does to people. I mean, even for me, like speaking personally, here's a little tidbit about me. I didn't start seeing grays in my temple, in my hair, until 2020 happened. So stressful year for me, for various reasons. But this is what happens when stress is an occurrence for people. It's like, this shit actually ages you. It really does. And I think we're seeing it with Tom in between Dead Reckoning and Final Reckoning.
Yeah,
Not
I mean,
good.
it's a possibility, but it's funny that like he doesn't age like having to hang off the Burj Khalifa, but you know, COVID stresses him out, you know. But
Shutting his movie down.
yeah.
Remember the
Yeah,
recording,
I mean,
everyone? I don't have it popped up. I don't have it
This-
readily available.
this,
when he said, this is the thing, and even Macquarie came to his rescue recently. He white knighted him. He said he defended him about the recording, the leaked recording when he was on set 3 years ago, when he yelled at crew members when they were violating COVID restrictions. And he said, if you do it again, you're fucking gone. And then McHugh comes to his rescue and he said, there were only about 7 people on set and he's making sure that they keep their job. Really?
Well, okay.
By threatening them,
Look,
threatening their jobs, he wants them to keep their job.
I'm gonna white knight for Tom Cruise as well when it comes to this. It's more like it's not just those people's jobs; it's the entire crew, like everyone. That's who he's. That's what I think. That's what Macquarie was talking about. It's like everyone's gonna get like let go because the movie's gonna get shut down.
You're gonna get shut down. And look, I'll say ignorance on this. Just because someone is crossing a piece of tape on the floor, who's going to shut down the production? Who is the department or entity that is going to shut down the production? Really? Where is there an example of a production that actually shut down within the production? Not just because of cities and governmental agencies saying this and this and that. Like, where is there a production that actually said, you did this, crew member, we are shutting down this movie?
Well, what do you mean though?
Like, where was the compliance officer?
Yeah, who the fuck was that?
Well, and I mean,
what example of a production that did that?
The whole thing about him freaking out and that whole the leak and everything. I think when that tape came out, there was a couple of things. One, oh, Tom Cruise sounds like an asshole, whatever, because he's yelling. Two, oh, Tom Cruise actually believes all this COVID stuff, blah blah. And no, he didn't. It's not that it's not don't even know how he feels about everything. It's more just like, look, there's these rules that are put on us right now. It doesn't really matter how I feel about them or how you feel about them. We have to follow them though, or else we'll get shut down. And these people on set were like not following it. They weren't wearing the mask, whatever it was, you know. And so he was mad because he just didn't want to get shut down. It's not because like, you're not wearing your mask, you know, like you're going to get everyone sick. You're harming, you know, everyone's lives are potentially in danger. It wasn't that. It's more like, if you got to fucking listen to these people, our movie's going to get shut down, you know? So
my question really didn't get answered, but yeah.
No,
the thing that I would say is that, look, that's probably the case. My argument that I make is that you don't do that in front of an entire crew, even if it's 7 people. That's what I thought about it, you know, in retrospect, after hearing McHugh say, after he was when he asked the interviewer, how many people do you think were on set? 50, the interviewer said, and then McQuarrie said, no, there were about 7.
Yeah.
And then I thought, that still shouldn't happen. Look, let me say this really quickly. I was on set back in Chicago when I lived there on a NBC TV show. There was a DP that called out the you know, a certain amount of the crew or department, and he didn't take us aside. He just did this to everyone, even though I wasn't involved in what had happened. Blah blah blah. He just like encompassed people and embarrassed this person. Yada yada. My argument that I make is that you just don't do that. You pull people aside and you have a private conversation. That's what should have happened. That's my argument.
Look, that's true, but shit just never goes. That tempers are like, things are high. Stress is fucking high, and every now and then, I think that Tom Cruise 9 times out of 10 does just that. But this particular time, he just lost it.
He was feeling the pressure a little.
Yeah, I mean, and that
he did a Christian Bale.
And I'll even defend Christian Bale. I don't like that.
No, I think Christian Bale was more in the right of it. Oh my God! You know,
I think
the DP was walking in his eye line about fixing a light. Yeah,
but
during the take.
So that's more prima donna than like potentially getting your whole movie shut down. You know, like that's what I'm saying. Like, but I'll defend them in both cases. I mean, they're both, to me, fucking hilarious. You know, people just shouldn't take that shit personally. No one likes to get yelled at. It sucks, but it's really not personal. And like, I'm sure Tom Cruise apologized later on, just as Christian Bale apologized later on. Shit just gets heated. I don't know. Like, to me, it's like people are such pussies now on sets. You know, like everyone, like, oh, you can't say anything. If like a director yells at someone or says something bad, then it goes on social media. And, you know, fuck that. Who cares? Like, it's not personal. It's not. You're just working in these really crazy conditions with a lot of money riding on things. And so, yeah, there are going to be moments where you're acting like you probably shouldn't act. You know, I don't know. I don't care. When things like that leak, I don't care. Like, that does not change my opinion on a person. Now, if Tom Cruise was like, you're gonna get people sick, then I'd be like, yeah, you're a fucking cock. But that's not what it was.
I mean, dude, it's muddled, yeah, and it's theoretical, but we have seen paparazzi photos of him walking outside offset, going to his fucking helicopter wearing a mask. So,
well, but he also knows the cameras are on him.
Yeah.
Which is a creepy aspect unto itself. But anyway, that's tangential to, you know, his personal life and, you know, blah, blah, blah. But so Final Reckoning, you guys did a review on it. It's available right now. I did a review as well with Ben, who has been in this chat. He might be gone at this point. We're going a little long. But we both we're on the same page when it comes to this movie. It's convoluted. It's overly written. It's too fucking long. It takes way too much time to get to the start of the movie. Really, the movie starts an hour in when you get to the submarine sequence.
Correct. Yes.
From the beginning to an hour, it's just fucking talking.
The movie should have started with that sequence.
Yeah. You are, where it's like, but the last one ends, and it's like, shit, we got to go find that sub. The next one starts like, hey, guess what?
Not enough happens to justify them having to figure out where the sub is to the extent that they take it in the beginning of this film.
Right, and that subsequence, one of the best sequences across the entire series.
Yeah, it's very, like, in terms of suspense.
Yeah.
It's very good. Except for that one dumb line.
Yeah, that one stupid line of dialogue.
But whatever.
But it should have started where they're like, okay, we're on the way to find this sub, but because of Dead Reckoning's poor performance, they had to retool this film completely, which is I want to see what the original, like, if Dead Reckoning had been super successful, I can't even imagine what film we would have gotten.
Yeah. We were robbed because they got spooked.
Yeah, they got spooked because they opened up a week before Barbenheimer. Yeah.
And Paramount can't realize that's the reason why. It's not that the movie was terrible or wasn't financially viable. They picked the wrong date to open it. That's the problem.
Yeah, that was a big part of it.
I'm going to put you guys in full screen mode real quick because I have to use the restroom. I know this is unhosty of me to do.
This is very unhosty.
Jesus.
I know.
All right, we'll take over.
I'm going to do it. So, yeah, chat.
We'll rank it without you.
So we'll give the series the real rankings.
We'll retool the rankings to properly reflect the correct opinions.
Yes.
Taking a leak.
Yeah.
Yeah, this could have been a really cool conclusion had they just stuck to the story they wanted to tell instead of neutering it and being like, nope, we're just going to have Tom Cruise running around looking for that ticking time bomb.
Well, it's just weird because the impression that you get about Tom Cruise is that he just doesn't care and just kind of does his own thing.
Right.
But this one is like, he's kind of beta for...
Yeah, it kind of felt like he was like, oh no, this didn't do what it should have done, so we're going to have to scrap our plans.
Yeah.
It's like, well, I mean, you set a lot of shit up, and it's not like you can just abandon the entire plot because it ends on like a serious cliffhanger.
Yeah.
Like, you got to follow through on that story. So it was already tied into the DNA of the final film. Like, they had to finish that story.
Well, I want to know, like you just said, where it would have originally gone, but I also want to know exactly how much of part 2 they already had filmed.
Right.
Because supposedly they were doing them back to back at the time.
Yeah.
But then I hear weird things that, like, because of COVID, they sort of abandoned that idea, but they still did shoot some things. It's a weird, convoluted timeline.
Yeah.
And that to me would be like a special feature alone on the Blu-ray, like explaining the whole timeline exactly how it took place.
Like, part of the ridiculous flashbacks they do in Final Reckoning, one of the flashbacks, I think it's it might have been right going into the subsequence, they flash back to like the destruction of the Sevastopol from part 1. But then there's like additional footage that was not in part 1.
Yes.
Like where you see them sliding down the corridors and trying to lock hatches and everything. And it's like, why do we need that?
Yeah.
I think they showed it when he's seeing those 2 dead people in the
still,
but it's like,
we know
what happened.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, why? Like, you're already showing the flashback, and now you're showing footage that wasn't even shown in the original sequence. Like, did you shoot that during that sequence? They might have.
Again, though, they felt compelled to show that, but not the backstory between him and Gabriel.
Right. Then why is it in the first film?
It's so dumb.
And then it even opens with Kittredge's message to him, like, oh, yes, you had the choice 30 years ago. You were a criminal and you chose to... It's like they're already setting it up in the opening of the film. Like, we're going to dive... This is like the send-off of this. Like, we're going to explore Ethan's past a little bit prior to MI1. Yeah, it comes full circle. And it's like, okay, I'm here for it. And they just...
completely shit the bed.
They shit the bed.
It went nowhere.
Yeah.
Sucks.
Yeah.
I'm back.
Oh, he's back. All right.
I'm going to have a catheter. I don't know how people do it, guys. Like, it's, I know I'm drinking a lot of carbonated water, but geez.
I mean, I had 2 beverages here.
Okay. Well,
you don't see me getting up.
Okay. You're better than me. Is that what you want to hear, Bobby? You heard it.
No.
Okay, so we're still talking about Final Reckoning kind of
Yeah, you
finishing
missed
it
a
up.
lot. We covered a lot of
All right,
ground.
what did I miss that is the quintessence of what you spoke about?
I don't know. Then we're just kind of going on a side tangent about
What could have been
what could have been.
based on what they set up in the first one and the payoff.
Yeah, we were just saying that like we want to see the cut before they got spooked, like what that would have looked like.
Yeah.
So,
Well, the whole idea of what does that mean? I ask. What does that mean? Get spooked? Like
they got
the movie
spooked
is
because
Because the
3
movie didn't
hours.
perform well.
It didn't.
Yeah, but
the-
how does that inform the decision to make it 3 hours? Is my
because
question.
they felt like, okay, we tried something different. It didn't work. Let's go back to what worked. And that's how we got the last film, because it feels like they went back to the type of setup that was from a previous film prior to Dead Reckoning.
Well, plus it was also that film in their minds. This film didn't do very well, so now we have to distance ourselves from it. So we can't really.
but only so much, because the DNA of that film is tied to the one they set up.
Yeah.
Like with the cliffhanger they ended with, they're like, well, we have to continue this story,
Yeah.
but we have to. Nobody liked the entity, so we got to just remove the entity from the film, which it's basically gone for 90% of the film. And I don't know. I guess people didn't like Gabriel that much, so he's just in the beginning and the end. Like the whole movie is just sidelines everything from part one.
Yeah.
Because they got spooked.
What did they have focus groups about Gabriel? Like he was.
I don't know,
fine.
but I thought Gabriel was
think
great.
people
Good.
just are. Yeah, people are. You know, there are a lot of people online don't like Gabriel. I think that they read all that stuff and take it to heart. You know.
I don't know, but I guess they didn't get good feedback about the entity. So the entity just tells Ethan what he wants him to do, and then we never hear from the entity again.
Yeah, but that's what's annoying. It's like you're already gambling doing a two-parter. You're already gambling. So if you have to know going into it that, hey, people might not respond to some of these things, but we have to commit to it though, because again, it's a two-parter. You got to see it through.
You got to see your story through.
So
otherwise,
the solution really is don't do a fucking two-parter. You know?
right? Don't do a two-parter
Well,
unless you know it's going to be a freaking runaway hit.
Yeah.
There was an interview where I think Tom came up with doing a two-parter.
Mm.
Well, you got to think about this
and then
though.
McHugh acquiesced to that. I might be incorrect. It was the switcheroo of one of them. Either one of them came up with like doing a two-parter, and then the other one said to the other, "You wanted this," and it's just, well, okay, one of them is to blame for this. And you know, Matt, you and I talked about this on a phone call where there is a version of Dead Reckoning and Final Reckoning that could be joined together.
The
to
de-exposition cut.
Yeah,
well, I call it the Reckoning cut.
Sure.
just the
Where it's
reckoning.
just Mission Impossible, The Reckoning. I think there is a version of Dead Reckoning, Final Reckoning where you combine them to, say, 2.5 hours. Probably that would be sufficient, maybe 3, of both those movies, and fan edit, if you want to call it that, of those two. Yeah, and I would like to see that, because as it is, Final Reckoning is, I declare, is the worst of this franchise. MI2 is better.
Bobby.
I don't know about that.
Really?
I mean,
really?
yeah, if you want to
Like
watch,
looking at the script issues, seriously.
no, there are serious script issues in Final Reckoning.
Yeah.
I'm not.
And then,
Yeah.
well, can you name me the script issues on MI2? Like
The
that's what I
fact
want
that
to
it
compare.
exists.
No. Without the flippant comment. Seriously. Like,
From
you
a
really
story-
want to
from
get
like
serious
from
about
a
it.
story
No,
structure
from a story
standpoint.
structure, you're right. MI2 is so straightforward, like a baby could understand it.
Okay,
That's the
well,
most positive thing
I
he's
would
ever
prefer
said about
that
Mission Impossible
over
2.
the
Like,
bullshit
Final Reckoning
of the
suffers-
first hour of Final Reckoning.
Final Reckoning suffers from the fact that, like I was saying about what they did with the Daniel Craig Bond movies, you are now reliant on the previous installment, good or bad, to continue this story. They got spooked and they retooled things in a way that I think made it actually worse. Now, there are things about this final film that I did like quite a bit, but they're few and far between.
Yeah, the
I know you
only
you
two
want me to
action
admit that
sequences-
two
the
is a
submarine-
better film.
The submarine sequence and the biplane set piece
Listen, I'm about to say something. Kyle, I will admit that as a whole, 2 works better than 8.
Thank you.
However, there is just something so off-putting to me about part 2 in terms of just its style and its aesthetic and its approach that like every frame of that film turns me off.
Every frame is awesome in that film.
Yeah, Matt, where the fuck are you on this?
I'm just letting him go.
Like,
I'm letting him go.
Yeah, no.
All right, let him go. What else you got?
Kyle, I already said that 2 overall works better than 8.
Oh,
What more do you want me to say?
Okay.
I'm telling you about
this will be
personal
cool
preference.
when we get to the ranking.
I think that Final Reckoning, I find myself hating it more and more, like as I've been thinking about it. Because when we walked out, we were disappointed. But
yeah, we were disappointed.
We didn't like hate it though. But like I feel like I would revise my rating at this point, the way I feel about it. I really don't like it.
What did you get? We'll get to the rating, but
and like everyone's
what did you rate it in the video?
I think I gave it a 6.
Somewhere in the 6 range, maybe.
Yeah, I feel like it was like around 6. I would not give it that now. I don't think. I'd probably give this like a 5 at this point.
Yeah. Whoa. That's fair.
I think that like it's like weird because I want to say, well, there's some like good filmmaking in it, but there's also some really bad filmmaking in the movie. Like the flashback stuff sucks. And like they just
exposition
they
is
spoon
just
feed you bullshit. You don't need
terrible.
to be spoon fed.
The copious amounts of times that they flash back to the first film and the other films, it's just needlessly done. It's almost as if it's something that a movie would do in a franchise that had been gone for 10 years or so, and the audience forgot about the franchise. And you know, the argument would be, well, Kyle, the first film came out in 1996. Of course they got to do that. Well, no, because all of the films have been steadily connected and have lily padded or leapfrogged, whatever the fuck the analogy is, to get to the last film.
Well,
there's been a steady connection, essentially.
But here's the thing, though. If you're going to show flashbacks just of the first one, okay, that kind of makes sense. But they're showing flashbacks from the previous movie. Which this is a second part of. What the fuck? You don't need to do that.
Yeah.
You know, like when we started watching Dead Reckoning Part 1, we didn't see flashbacks from Fallout. Like, it's just fucking stupid.
Yeah. No, it's that really is an aspect of the film that made me like it bogs down the film in the length and it just wastes time. I remember I've seen it twice in theaters. And I remember in the first time sitting down and I turned to Megan and I just did this within the first hour. Is it fucking move on, wrap this shit up. You don't need this. This exposition scene, get to the real shit. And it really would have the version of the movie that opens.
Yeah, but now if you
submarine sequence.
If you listen to people who actually really liked Final Reckoning and they're out there, they'll be like, "Oh, yeah, no.
Movie?
People that liked this film,
yes,
they'll just defend the hell out of it, like, oh god, it's such a love letter to the whole series." And like, dude, I've heard people talking about
seen
like
that
this,
shit too.
Like, it's a love letter to the whole series. It just pays homage to the rest of the series. It goes into like the older films and just shows the full journey he's made. Shut up. Like, that's not what this is about.
That's shill speak.
Yeah, shill speak. Exactly.
Interesting.
Get rid of all that shit and just make the best possible movie you can. We don't need a freaking 3-hour send-off for Ethan Hunt.
But that's like not even true though. When they say that, it's not even true.
Right.
So like, okay, when they bring Don Lowe back, all right.
Yeah, that's a little fan service
that's like, on one hand, I do appreciate it because I like how he kind of becomes integral to the plot instead of just like,
that's how you do
cameo.
You make them integral to the movie. Yeah.
But on the other hand, it's like, okay, if Kittredge sent him to Alaska to work in a radio tower, most likely within a year, that character would have just been like, "I fuck this. I quit
he'd
the CIA.
resign.
Like, yeah,
I
I'm
thought
done."
you were gonna
It's
say
not-
he's
it's-
gonna off himself.
No, it's not the fucking
Yeah, you know?
military. It's not the military. You could just walk out whenever you want.
Yeah, that was just sort of a joke.
He
in
was a
Mission Impossible
CIA
1.
analyst in the
Yes.
first film. Like, we're gonna ship him off. It's like, well, fuck you. I quit.
Yeah. So
Like,
you know, they end up it's cute. You know what I mean? That's dumb.
This was, you don't have to be sorry. This was the best thing that ever happened to me being here. I met my Inuit wife. And it's like, well, that's
Yeah.
just adorable.
Well, then it's
a
like
bit
Tom Cruise.
contrived,
Tom
but-
Cruise does this thing where he's like, oh, like he almost like I've thought about like what I must have done. Like, Tom
No,
Cruise
you didn't.
never thought about that fucking guy ever again.
Yeah,
like
they
Well-
poisoned him in the
well,
first
to-
film and
to
then
play-
moved on, and that was it.
yeah,
Yeah,
like
but
what
to
they
play
should.
devil's advocate, I don't think he was saying I thought about you all these years. I think he's
No,
saying,
no,
"Oh,
it's not-
now I remember you," and then he says, "I wonder what those
Whatever,
actions that I took."
No, you
did
do.
to you."
No, you fucking don't. What they should have done
In
is
the
like what they.
moment.
Do you remember David Paymer in Ocean's 13 when they're like fucking with him the whole movie, like giving
Yeah.
him hives and doing all
Yes,
that?
yes,
But then
yes.
at the end, they let him win that slot machine, and so
Yeah.
like it kind of pays off for that character.
Yeah.
There was none of that in Mission Impossible 1. They get him sick. He like shits himself and throws up in the bathroom or whatever, and
Just throwing
he-
up. He doesn't show himself.
whatever.
But
That
then
would've
in this
that would have
film,
been an interesting inclusion into the.
they make
whole
it seem
heist
like
sequence.
they say like, oh yeah, he actually designed the entire vault
Oh
system.
yeah, just like dude, you just
like,
worked there.
no,
Like,
no, you were an analyst.
yes.
That's it. Then they retcon it, so he designed the entire system.
That's fucking
Oh, okay. So
stupid.
they say in Final Reckoning that he did.
Yes,
Yeah.
they
Oh,
did.
Benji says that. Like, you?
Yeah.
William Donlow?
Like he's
You did this and
fanboying
like he's
over this
famous or
guy.
something.
He's fanboying
Okay.
over this guy who's like nobody.
Yeah.
Okay.
You know, and they
Well, yeah, that's
explain
what
that-
you. That's the impression that you get in the first film. He's just a.
Yes.
Yeah, he's just an analyst.
that's
That's,
what I'm-
all
Yeah,
he is.
he's a
that's what
computer
he-
geek.
sequel
It's
bullshit.
not an impression. They say that. That's what
Yeah.
he is. Like they invented that shit in this to make him more relevant. It's like they brought. I liked how they brought Kittredge back for Dead Reckoning, but then they don't really do anything that interesting with him.
And they don't even explain.
He
why he's
shouldn't
back.
have
why he's
even
back.
been
Where
in
you
this
been for
movie.
30 years, and then he
shouldn't have
comes
been
back.
in it.
He comes back in this one, and again, it's like, oh, Kittredge is back,
Cool.
and he just wants shit from Ethan. It's like, okay. Again, they just don't do anything interesting with it. It's like, okay, you brought Kittredge back again. Now we got Donlow back. Like, who else we bringing back from part one? Did anyone else survive?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Whatever.
So yeah, let's rank this thing. I want to be considerate with your time.
Yeah.
Let's get to the ranking. Where are you at?
Damn. The one I was dreading.
There it is. Okay. So one poster left. Where? I mean,
I'm going to be overruled on this.
Yeah.
it's gonna be in 4 or 5. I know this. It's gonna be 4 or 5.
This is below. I'm with you, Kyle. Like as stupid as Mission Impossible 2 is, it's fun to watch.
Well, I rated it at 5, but you know the average that we got to was 4. So, audience,
Yeah.
people that are still in the chat, just so you know, I rated MI2 better than these guys. Okay, and but
Mhm.
I was outruled because they rated it so low in like mission abort and mission disavowed rating. So, yeah, I think Final Reckoning is in. It at the very least, I think, because of where MI2 is, because
I'm putting it at 5.
oh dear God, no, it can't be better than 2. It cannot be better than 2.
I'm
Matt,
putting
Matt, are you thinking about this? Do you realize what has
No,
been
no.
done now?
Kyle, it's okay. I am gonna put. Bobby's full of shit. It's not. It's not I would either put it right next to Mission Impossible 2 or fucking one underneath it. I don't like this movie. Like
Yeah.
Mission Impossible 2 is like so much.
I mean, just on principle, I have to stick to my guns. I got to put it over MI2.
Dude, what does your heart tell you?
I feel like if you watched Mission Impossible 2 now, like you would hate it still.
Yeah.
But you would be like,
I'd appreciate
all
it
right,
more.
this is like a normal movie still, where like it's not bogged down by the previous one.
That's
As
fair.
we used to say, guilty pleasure. MI2 is a guilty
This
pleasure. It
is-
is cheesy. It's
Yeah.
fucking cheesy. Its action sequences are kind of stupid in some sequences where they're fighting on the beach, and it looks like, I've said this before, it looks like dudes fucking around in the backyard or where the beach is or whatever,
Some
and they're just
backyard wrestling.
experimenting with some kicking and punching.
It's so
The
awesome.
only thing it was missing was bullet time. That's all that was missing from that scene when they're flying through the air.
That'd have been cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, so given all of that, Final Reckoning has none of that guilty pleasure, the guilty
It
pleasure
doesn't.
aspects to it. It does
No.
not.
No.
Yeah, it has on its own sequences of the set pieces of the biplane and the submarine sequence.
Yeah.
But here's the thing. We know that Macquarie and Tom Cruise think of these ideas before they have a script, and then they implement them. And clearly the rest of the script with the story and the dialogue was an afterthought.
Mm-hmm.
It's just
Yeah.
that is a horrendous just legacy for the franchise, that you leave it on this beat. And it's just like, holy shit, how could you guys do this?
Now, could you imagine if the final film in this series ended up being like MI2?
Oh, wait, sorry, say that one more time.
If the film that came out as the final film in this series like pulled all of its inspiration from MI2 and it was just this ridiculous cheesy action
It would
movie.
have gone out on a high note.
With the slow motion, and then people would have said, this director is ripping off Zack Snyder.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they would
right.
have, yeah.
Let's
Except
rate
John
it.
Woo knows
Let's
how to
rate
use.
it. Let's rate it, guys. So
slow motion.
it's got to be next to MI2 at least.
Absolutely.
At least.
I
Even
think
though
I'll-
I wouldn't like. I'm making this rating based off of what the others are sitting at. Like, it without everything else, I would have put Final Reckoning at 5 or so, 5 or 6, somewhere in that range, because of those set pieces. But given
because
this,
Mission Impossible 2 is where it is.
yes, because
yeah.
I have to acknowledge that MI2 is better than Final Reckoning. So I put it
Kyle,
yeah.
where would you put it? Yeah.
4.
Which slot is Mission Impossible 2 in?
4.
I'm gonna put it in 4 as well.
Bobby?
I already said 5, but
Okay.
I'm overruled. So
You're
next to
overruled.
4 it
All
is.
right. Yeah, and take note, audience, that MI2 comes first in this. Okay, I'll just leave it at that.
Mhm.
And unfortunately, because I want to be considerate of you guys' time, we don't have time to do the Hunt Girl list.
No, that'll be for the next one.
Yeah,
That's a long discussion in
That
itself.
is, yeah. You
that'll
have to
be
go
its own
back and
live
actually
stream.
look
Yeah.
at each film and make the determination.
I remember.
I don't.
I could do it right now.
It's those middle films I'm a little fuzzy with.
Yeah.
Let's wrap it up with a couple of comments from the chat. So Nicholas Holt would have actually been menacing, Yash says, considering he's Lex Luthor and his turn in the menu. So I think the menu is overrated, and I thought he was terrible in The Order because he does the no eyebrow acting where he doesn't move them at all.
Oh God.
I think he's overrated at this point. And let's see. Megan says Dead Reckoning is an interesting concept of an evil AI, but it is boring to explain. More boring. Also,
That's
trying
fair.
to stop it is better when you can just stop Gabriel, not just Gabriel and the AI.
That's fair.
Yeah,
Sure.
they messed up with when it comes to Gabriel.
Megan also says women drivers. Am I right?
Yeah.
Yep.
She also said Solomon greater than Gabriel. I disagree. For
Ooh.
Dead Reckoning. Final Reckoning, he turned into a goofball.
Yeah.
Solomon, I can't remember, it's just nothing that interesting about Solomon.
It's like
I
I think
Gabriel
that
at least is just engaging.
I would because you have to consider what they do with him in the
I
second
know.
part. So
well, they did it. Well, okay. Solomon gets 2 films. Gabriel gets 2 films.
I would probably put them at a tie. If they continued what they did in Dead Reckoning Part 1 with him, then I think he would have taken the.
Who's the actor that played Solomon?
I always forget his name.
Yeah, but you don't forget Isai Morales.
No, it's that annoying fucker from Prometheus. He's the idiot in Prometheus that's like, let's split up, basically.
Well, he wasn't the one that went Gucci Gucci snake alien.
No, he's not. But he's the one that's mapping out the area, and he gets lost.
Yeah. Although Gabriel did have a fucking ridiculous death, like silly.
Oh yeah, dude, I was going to mention this in my review, the video I did with Ben, is that I really did think that the way they went out with Gabriel. Okay, so people say, "Oh, it was kind of comedic." I'm fine with that. Look, the reaction that the audience had, and I was part of it. I reacted to it in that when he gets sent out of the cockpit. From when he pulls the chute, like he pulls the chute, right?
The problem is just because he got so sidelined in that movie, and then on top of it, that's the way he goes out.
Yeah.
But
no, but it still could have worked. That's what I'm saying.
No, it could have worked. No, I agree with you.
If they had made a better decision in how they utilized that character prior to.
Correct. I agree.
Well, they kind of set that up earlier where when Grace and Hunt are tied up and he does the tooth bit, where Gabriel basically is like, oh, you fucked up my plans. Now I'm giving you a mission and you're going to have to do it. And then you think like, okay, now he's got to like work with Gabriel. But then they just abandon that like right away.
Yeah.
Like right at the end of that scene, it's like, oh no, Gabriel's just on the run now and he's just gone. It's like, what a waste.
Also, another waste is Luther's death.
Oh my God.
Wow.
Oh, that was a waste too.
That up.
That sucked.
Whew, I didn't feel anything. And I said this in an IG story. If they really were going to make that scene worth something, because let's face it, the relationship between Ethan and Luther is kind of superficial mostly. And the way that you could have made it make it have a proper callback is the ending of the first film, when they're sitting down and they're having a drink and they kind of toast, and Ethan's getting up and he's leaving Luther, and he says, "So how does it feel to be a upstanding citizen?" And Luther says, "Man, I don't know. I'm gonna miss being disreputable."
Yeah.
He should have said that in the last moment between them, when they're in the tunnels and he needs to defuse the bomb, etc. Even though it's really contrived and why is it only
but it would have been a good full
tunnels are only
circle.
going to be destroyed, but London's fine. Okay, whatever. But the way that it's almost like a magician's trick. If you can impress me with this over here, but this over here is not so good, you still impressed me over here. If you can make that moment where they part ways and that send off of Ethan's about to leave, or maybe he doesn't want to leave, right? Maybe he doesn't want to leave, Luther, and he's telling him, "Go now, Ethan. Like leave, okay?" And he says, "You know something though? I'm gonna miss being disreputable." And he, kind of winks at him. He knows what he's doing. He knows what he's saying. He would say that in a kind of winky way, knowing that that was maybe a moment, because they hadn't seen each other for years, potentially, from the first film to the second. So it was kind of a moment where, and it's almost, when Ethan says, "If it makes you feel any better, Luther," in the first film at the end, "I'll always think of you that way." Oh my shit. Like, when you realize the context of what happened and how that was said, that was the perfect callback that McHugh should have done, and Tom Cruise should have known that. McHugh should have. How the fuck did they miss that? How that opportunity they just squandered? Instead, he just says something along the lines of all the other pretentious stuff that Luther says. "It's your destiny, Ethan. You gotta get out of here."
To destiny.
Well, yeah, they turn him into Jesus in that movie.
He becomes like a fucking Christ figure.
No, okay. So I did a. We'll wrap up soon, but I did a short, and it's in the review. But there's a short on YouTube where I talked about how Ethan is homonymic to ethos, which is the characteristic of beliefs and principles, and he's a allegory for Christianity. I do think that in Dead Reckoning, it's spawned because of that line that he gives to Grace about, I'm gonna take care of you. I care about your life. It means more to me than my own. She starts welling up, which is another indication of why she's a fucking standout in that movie, and she's amazing in that. And she wells up, and her eyes get teary eyed. She says, "You don't even know me," and he says, "What difference does that make?" So that is an indication that it's subtle enough where
It's
him
not.
being an
It's not subtle.
no, it's in comparison to Final Reckoning, it is, because
No,
you don't get all this grandstanding bullshit
that,
from Luther,
but
and
that
he says
ethos
the
shit
same
doesn't
thing
belong in that
over and
Mission
over
Impossible
again
movie.
in both the last speech that he gives before he dies in the beginning of the movie and in the recorded speech at the end. So, yeah.
I mean, I wouldn't have minded that Luther saying his same line again, but like the whole elevating Ethan above what he actually is like, all right. I mean, he's
Which is
a spy.
cog
Yeah.
in the wheel.
I mean,
like he's the superior cog in the wheel.
yeah, but I mean, like all the philosophy that Luther brings into it, and
Yeah.
just the way they're treating him, like, I don't know, it just seems a little
They
excessive.
overdid it. Like Alec Baldwin in Fallout has one line that it sort of sums up Ethan the best, and like they did a good job of just keeping it there and not overdoing it. But he says to him, you were willing to sacrifice the lives of millions for one of your friends. Some see that as a weakness. I see that as your greatest strength.
Good
That's
lines.
it. Like that's it.
Yeah,
You don't need any. You don't need to make him more Christ-like than that.
Yeah.
That's all they needed, and like that summed up. Yeah, that's if you think about the past films. Yeah, that's Ethan. That makes sense. But they took that further in Dead Reckoning Part 1 and the Final Reckoning, and they turn him into like this, like, you are the one. He's fucking Neo.
He's
Yeah.
Neo.
But what did you think about in Rogue Nation when Alec Baldwin says, "He is the living manifest destiny"?
I don't even remember that.
What is he? I just messed that line up. The living manifestation of destiny.
I don't even remember that.
Yeah, he says that to the prime minister.
I don't know. I forgot that film.
To make him realize how many steps ahead he is of everyone. But yeah, they've been building toward this Messiah complex, and it lines up with Tom and his
his own personal complexes.
Yeah, or
I don't
just
know.
his ego.
I don't think it's really needed for this type of.
It's not that it feels. The entity feels out of place. That feels out of place.
Yeah.
Sorry, what feels out of place? What?
I said the entity feels out of
Yes.
place. Like,
Yeah.
well, that shit feels out of place for a Mission Impossible movie.
Yeah.
Well, we
Whatever.
rated all the films. Let's wrap up with a couple comments, and then we'll call it a night.
All right.
There were way too many people, Megan says, in the Final Reckoning. Also, the president scenes don't need to be in the film.
She's
Totally
right.
agree.
True.
It's almost as if you lifted that from something I said from my review. Box Office Brawler. Jackson, people, do your due diligence. Like, share, and subscribe to Kyle Corwith. And Hard Cut Reviews. Yes, we
Please,
are.
guys.
Thank you,
yes.
brawler.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Thank you.
We would
everyone
appreciate
still
that.
Still here and watching. Show some love to this stream video and to both of our channels, and some subscribing. Yeah. Let's see. Eddie Brock. Oh, hey, Eddie. You gonna do a fourth Venom? The Syndicate trilogy is peak MI. 4, 5, 6. Fallout was just incredible. Agreed. And it is ranked as among the highest, as we see.
Ah, look who just popped in the
Whoa!
11th hour.
Sup, Paul?
Look
We're about
who
to
it
go,
is.
Paul.
Yeah.
Paul,
We're
Paul,
about to end.
Paul, where have you been? Where have you been, man?
Wow.
Yeah, It's last minute.
Sin's back. Hi, Sin. Again.
Oh man.
Yeah, he just popped in and now he's popping out.
Box office brawler. Ooh, look who showed up. Yes, yes. Paul. Paul showed. We're all still hanging out. Well, not for long, man. We got to get going. We've been going for 3 hours, and
James
Haruka
Brown
has been
said-
very generous with their time.
James Brown said, McHugh doesn't change character till he's done with the DVD commentary.
There it is. A reference to Tropic Thunder. That was the other one. That one. James Brown also said that. The Entity was straight out of the L. Ron Hubbard novel, or one of them. It would be hilarious if there was a Scientology book called The Entity. That lines up very well with the craziness of Scientology. Tom, you got to get out of it, okay?
Paul's trying to bring Karate Kid Legends into this conversation.
I mean,
That'll have to be for a different
Paul.
discussion.
Paul, come on, man.
could you just have a little spat?
That movie fucking
All
sucked.
right, we'll save it. All right,
Let's save it.
we'll save it.
I do
Okay,
want to hear
so-
Paul's thoughts on the matter when the time comes.
Maybe we could do ranking the Karate Kid movies.
Yeah.
Paul will put that up at the top.
Yeah.
No,
Right
I
next
got to
to
give
you.
credit to Jackson. You're still here. I got to give credit to you. And for those who don't know, yeah, Box Office Brawler. No, we're not going to stream for another 24 hours. But I got to give you credit for the idea of the ranking. I mean, that is, he did that for his monthly movie roundup, and I got that inspiration to do this. So that's, credit goes to him for that. Paul was just trying to be a dick.
Yeah, we had a quick little back and forth. He
You
told
and
me-
Paul?
Yeah. When I sent him the review and he just responded like, "You're fucking nuts. It was great."
Maybe he was just being inflammatory.
I don't
No, I
know.
don't think so. It was just a private conversation.
Oh, it wasn't in the comment section. Got it.
No.
Okay. Well,
I
we'll get
always
to that.
send him the videos.
We'll get to that on Paul. Hopefully you do a Thirsty Thursday sometime next
Just
month.
about Karate Kid Legends.
Oh, or just do that. Just do about the karate. Like, all right, take some little inspiration from the retrospective that we did tonight. I mean, yeah, we went through the entire franchise, 8 movies tonight, and you, the audience, so far right now, I think we had about 15 people on YouTube that tuned in. Right now,
This
we're 11.
retrospective was just as long as The Final Reckoning.
Yeah.
Yeah. We just crossed over a little bit, but we were a lot more efficient with what information we got forth. Like, we went through 8 films.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, Jackson, I did steal your idea, but it's called an homage. That's
It's
Called an homage.
You only steal from the best.
He thinks I'm a traitor. And next time we'll do a Twitter war. That's probably for you, Bobby.
Yep.
As Paul says.
Elon Musk style.
Yes.
Are you Elon Musk in this situation, Paul? Because I think he ended up apologizing. Just saying.
He got you there, Paul. All right, guys. We're going to sign off.
All right.
It's been 3 hours and 18 minutes, and we just covered the entire Mission Impossible franchise. Whether or not there's going to be a sequel is up for debate. I think they're going to, at the very least, going to hold off on making a sequel because Tom needs to do other movies
Mm-hmm.
and work with other filmmakers because he's about exhausted his collaboration with McHugh at this point.
Top Gun 3, dude. So they've got at least one more.
Yep.
Yeah, but he's not going to direct that. Like,
Yeah, but he's heavily involved in the whole creative process.
Mm.
it's different. He's not the director, so
That-
I'm okay with
yeah.
that. Yes, I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that. Yeah. So, we're
All right,
gonna-
guys.
we're
It
gonna
was
end
fun.
right now.
Yeah.
and we're gonna have
Thanks
an
for
outro.
thanks for viewing. For sticking around this long.
Yeah.
I'm fucking tired.
Yeah.
Okay,
seriously.
lastly, you guys are gonna have a video up when? What video?
Saturday. Saturday will be our ballerina review.
Yeah, so wait for that to come out by going subscribing to them, and I might also have a ballerina video coming out Saturday as well.
All right.
All right, guys. All right. Cheers.
All right.
We're headed out.
Later.
You are still dangerous. You can be my wingman anytime.
Bullshit. You can be mine.